Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lab Rats. And I'm Ezra, and I'm joined by Ahmad and Sawyer. Got it right this time. It's been a while. Sorry, it's been kind of a rough March for all of us. We had a lot going on. I got sick.
We had spring break.
We had spring break, which, yeah, that was a thing.
And then we had papers and exams.
Yeah, and so now we're back. We're going to make our biggest effort to go straight through the end of the semester and into summer as well. We're gonna continue over summer. There's only like 1 week where the show might not happen, but that's a big if as well.
We also might have a guest that week anyway.
Yeah.
So,
with that, you guys know the format at this point.
this is episode 17. You guys know by this point.
So we're gonna jump into the news segment, and I'm gonna lead us off with a bit of heartbreaking news, in fact. Sawyer, I didn't tell you about this, but I was looking at. I kind of wanted to. I was trolling around, and I wanted to see if there was some Metal Gear news, and so I looked up one of the first things I came across was a really sad piece on how Fate Grand Order, a mobile game based on a really popular Fate Stay Night, based on that. It's a fun mobile game. Huge respect to Aniplex. It's actually it's a fun mobile game, but it has made more dollars than Metal Gear has in 4 years.
Like the franchise?
Like the entire franchise of Metal Gear has made fewer dollars than a mobile game.
As much as it pains me to say it, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Because Metal Gear Survive was hot garbage, and they've also released nothing since then.
Yeah.
So.
Oh man.
It's sad to say the decline of a once amazing franchise. Yeah.
Now, on a much more triumphant, I guess, piece of news, Captain Marvel came out and did a really good job.
Yeah.
Broke records. Don't know exactly what records it broke, but
I think I could be completely wrong, but I believe it has one of the best opening weekend numbers.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Ever since
At least domestic. I don't know about global.
Yeah, I think it may have fallen off pretty quickly though.
The movie did not have. I'm just wildly guessing here.
Yeah.
But I don't think it had the legs that Marvel was hoping it would have, like Wonder Woman did. And then again, I also read this piece. I think it was Forbes that talked about it. It could have been some other place.
Yeah.
That said that Marvel movies, as of late, with the exception of Infinity War,
haven't had legs.
Haven't had massive legs.
I think Black
Panther did, but that's more of the exception than the rule.
I guess you have to kind of treat Black Panther as its own thing in a lot of ways.
Ant-Man didn't really have the legs they wanted it to have. Captain Marvel didn't. I don't think Ragnarok did.
Captain Marvel made $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
330.
And it made like 400 million.
Yeah.
So I think for me the significance of it was when I read the initial story, I thought somebody got it wrong because I assumed that they had made 4 million global, which is still a lot of money. You can't discount the fact that they made $400 million.
Yeah.
Let's be real. No, but they made 400 million domestic.
The weekend or
yeah. Yeah, and $1 million, or $1 billion worldwide, which is they had a really impressive opening. It may not have been exactly 400 million, but it was close.
Yeah.
And they made a stupid amount of money off of this movie, and that is not to be discounted.
I think Endgame's probably going to shatter that.
I hope people go to see it. I feel like there's...
Go see Endgame?
Yes.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
I don't know. I get really paranoid about these sorts of things, and the trailer is great, don't get me wrong, and it looks super good. I'm not saying it looks bad. I'm not saying anything about the quality of this movie. I'm just saying I feel like there's a general tiredness about Marvel movies in the general public.
But you just said Captain Marvel posted huge numbers.
That's true.
And the last 3 Marvel movies have posted record numbers. So I'm not really worried about it.
So Endgame. I do agree with you. There is that sort of fatigue that's going on, but Endgame is going to be big. I mean, no matter.
Yeah,
what.
I think it's gonna be big.
It's-
Well, and the other thing is you're asking people to go to a 3-hour-long movie.
And I do not care because
No, I don't
like,
care.
I don't
I don't
think
care
people care.
either.
Yeah.
I don't
If it was
care
5
either.
hours, I would
People
stay.
do care.
Well, okay.
There are people who care about that.
I think Endgame. I don't know if it's gonna have as big as numbers as Infinity War.
Yes.
Because Infinity War did post, like, it did, like, advertise itself as this is the end, and Endgame really is the ending to that.
Yeah.
I think it also loses out on that kind of train that Black Panther started, because I think it got people hyped, and you also got the Black Panther crowd to go to see Infinity War, because Wakanda
Black
was in the
Panther
trailer,
was in
and he's
it,
in the
yeah.
trailer. Whereas they're still pretending like none of these people are going to come back in Endgame, and so you
They're
can't...
kind of pretending.
So, but that none of the marketing has shown Black Panther, and so to a casual audience, they're like, "Oh, he's not in this one, so I don't care."
Yeah.
You're gonna lose out on that audience who's only going for Black Panther.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose out on them and the people who are not wanting to sit through a 3-hour movie, or can't. Like, you're not gonna
Yeah.
bring small kids to this movie because their attention's not gonna last that long.
I will say this:
You're gonna lose
the
out on it.
movie looks great, and I think
So I heard I accidentally heard like a 5-second snippet and it got me really hyped. So
yeah.
Yeah.
The trailer is terrific. Like, I'm telling you, man, you could watch the trailer and you still don't know.
Yeah,
what's
it's
going on.
all of
I
it
don't
is
know
in the
if-
first 15 minutes. Or
I don't
20
know.
Minutes.
I don't necessarily know if you should watch the special look.
I don't really think that shows very much.
The special look is cool because you actually get some Thanos.
Yeah.
That's
That's not a spoiler because remember he knew he's in the movie.
Yeah,
so it's like it's not.
yeah, it's not really.
Yeah.
but like
I'm tempted, but I don't know. Like I feel like it's just like way too late in the game. I'm
I
just
mean,
like,
at this point, I
it's
would
just-
say it doesn't really matter because we're almost there.
yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. But if it was like a month ago, I would have said go for it. At this point,
Yeah.
there's really no
Although
reason.
I do kind of want you to watch the trailer so I could show you this really funny J.K. Rowling video. So you've seen it.
I know what he's talking
It's
about.
it's,
Oh my God.
it's really funny, and like I want to show it to you, but I can't because you haven't seen the trailer, and so it's not funny anymore.
I'll watch it after I see the end game.
Okay. The trailer, like, I still like going back and watching trailers for things.
Oh, same.
Like
Yeah.
I think like the art of a trailer is really interesting. Like how you structure a trailer, how you present one,
Mhm.
what you put in a trailer. Like those are all really interesting. Aside from
And there's
the actual,
Yeah.
like a lot of people who say that the Phantom Menace trailer is actually better than the movie.
Yeah. And then there's trailers that basically just tell you exactly how bad it's
Yeah.
going to be, like
Like-
Terminator Genesis.
Oh.
Or-
Yeah.
This isn't really how bad it will be. Just like tell you the entire movie, but
Like
Spider-Man-
Terminator Genesis. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
my
and
God.
Spider-Man,
Sorry
Spider-Man
about
Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming was.
Yeah, pretty
was
much shows the
also
entire
fun.
movie. Sony
Um,
trailers typically show the entire movie.
I don't think. Oh my god! It did. It kind of spoiled it, didn't it? That was a spoiler-filled trailer.
What?
Homecoming.
Yeah.
Well, and so was
Yeah, you've
Amazing
seen
Spider-Man 2. I mean, that they literally show the ending shot of the movie in the
Yeah.
trailer.
Did Far From Home doesn't have a trailer yet. has
It does.
Although I will say
I watched
Sony,
it.
Sony's interesting though, and I don't want to spend too long on trailers. Although we could talk about trailers forever.
We are going to be talking about the trailer in a minute.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think Sony trailers, especially for the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailers, I think they're interesting because they don't tell you how a movie is structured in any way. So, like, I don't know where any of the scenes fall necessarily, but they, like, again, I'm not defending them, but, like, they give away a lot of their movies. Like, they'll practically give away the whole movie. I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 was better about it, though, because that last shot looked like it could very easily have been from the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie.
I just
it-
don't like seeing the ending shot of a movie in the trailer. I just
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't like
no, and that's totally a fair perspective. I just think like, at least I didn't know what was going to happen really going in. I just knew like these specific things were going to be in the movie. So yeah. With that, Ahmad, what is your news topic today?
The Joker.
The Joker.
The Joker. Or actually, Joker. I should say. It's not the
Oh
Joker.
yeah,
it's Joker.
Yeah, it's just Joker.
I recently, I was avoiding the trailer, but you know what? I was like, I'm not gonna.
You've been so hyped for this movie.
I'm not
You had
gonna. I'm
to
not
watch
gonna avoid it any longer. I'm extremely hyped
Yeah.
for it, and I think yesterday I sat down and I watched it,
Yeah, we just watched it in the lab as
and
well.
I couldn't help, like, dude, I couldn't help it. Like, get all, it's like so just like giddy. I don't know. I was just like, there's goosebumps, and I got goosebumps and stuff, and it's just like.
Can we just briefly mention these last like 3-4ish weeks have had so many great trailers.
Good trailers, yeah.
Like this, Endgame, Stranger Things, Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So many great
Yeah.
trailers.
Now I have a lot of interesting things to say about the trailer. First of all, Joaquin Phoenix looks like, I mean,
He's killing it. Like
I-
there's no doubt about that.
he's transformed himself. I mean, like
Yeah.
like he does in every role, and which is why I've been on the hype train, because I mean, if Joaquin Phoenix wasn't attached to the film, I mean, I don't think I would have been as hyped as I am right now. He looks like he's gonna do something really special.
Like I'll admit, when I first saw the makeup, I wasn't totally sold. I was a little like hesitant, but seeing it in the lighting of the film and his portrayal and everything else around it, it works.
Mhm.
I'm very much sold.
I just love the line. I love when he goes like, he's just like, I used to think my life is a tragedy, now I think it's a I think I just, that was so
that's
good.
good.
The line's great. I think the only thing that is a little bit strange to me that I'm still trying to get used to is the colors of his like suit. being
Yeah,
different.
the
Yeah.
suit, it's not purple.
That's taking some getting used to for me. Other than that, everything else looks perfect.
Just his like gestures, the things he does. Like I love the little thing he does, like where he puts his like hands
Yeah.
in his mouth.
He actually seems crazy,
Yeah.
which is what like Jared Leto just looked like. I don't mean to trash on him this entire time, but like he never at any point in the movie actually seemed crazy to me. He looked like he was acting, whereas Joaquin Phoenix just looks legitimately crazy.
Right,
He doesn't
yeah.
seem like he's acting.
Right.
It's the thing, yeah. He's sort of giving that, like the same thing that Heath Ledger gave to the Joker in The Dark Knight. Joaquin Phoenix seems to be giving that to his
To his
version
role.
of that Joker. Yeah.
So today, I mean, I was talking to somebody about this earlier today, and they mentioned an interesting point. The story, they mentioned how it looks somewhat generic. Like you have like the story where it's just like he gets bullied, and then he gets, if you see the trailer, he gets like bullied by these kids, and then he sort of like spirals into this insanity because of his life. His life isn't as good as it could be. So like this one person was like, it kind of looks like a little generic, the plot. But I mean, obviously it's just it's a trailer. You can't really go based off of that.
Well, and I think the trailer's strength for me when I was watching it was I don't know exactly what's going on. Like I have a few hints about where the story will go.
Like some of the themes that's going to
Yeah,
touch on.
but I don't know, like, I don't know if Thomas Wayne is going to be more than just a TV screen. Like, I don't know a lot of things about the film, and I think that's smart.
I did watch a couple of like reviews of the trailer, and a couple of them have mentioned that there are some shots and things they do in the trailer that are ripped straight from the comics.
Oh, that's cool.
I think it's either Killing Joke or Dark Knight Returns, but
Oh,
him
wow.
being on a like late night talk show, he's ripped from one of those comics. And in the comics, let's just say not everybody ends up coming out of that talk show as they like to.
God.
And
I love that Robert De Niro is in it because
Yeah.
well, I mean he's great in everything he's doing. And he's gonna come back with The Irishman in this movie, hopefully. I mean,
he's not attached to this movie anymore.
Robert
No,
De
De
Niro.
Niro.
Oh, no, that's De Niro. I meant,
but
Scorsese.
that's also another.
They are very easy to confuse.
But yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah.
Robert De Niro. Well, because I was like, I saw him in the trailer.
I was like, oh, yeah.
No, but Scorsese isn't attached anymore.
He was.
which is disappointing.
Yeah,
because
disappointing.
I mean, I don't know if
That does make me a little more worried for this film than I was, because Martin Scorsese being attached to a crime movie about the
Elevates
Joker
it, yeah.
made like it just made too much sense for it to like fail. But now that he's not, it's kind of like I don't trust DC anymore. So
Yeah.
But they have recently been having some hits. Like, I mean,
yeah,
Aquaman did great. Shazam, I'm hearing, is great.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman was pretty good.
yeah.
Really, their only misses was Justice League was okay and Suicide Squad was trash. That's really it.
and Batman versus Superman.
That,
The theatrical cut is so bad.
So the
yeah.
three movies, I mean, the four movies, I should say, that
Yeah.
I always hear get trashed: Batman vs Superman,
Yes.
Suicide Squad,
Yes, I haven't
Man of
seen
Steel,
Suicide
which I don't think deserves it at all.
I don't think
I
it
don't like
deserves
Man of
trash.
Steel.
Being trashed
Yeah.
in the slightest. I don't think it's as great as it could be, but I
Yeah.
don't think it should be trash.
Yeah, and then the last one was
Justice League.
Yeah.
Justice
So I-
League. I think Justice League is better than.
I
BVS.
agree with what you
Fine.
said the other
Yeah.
day. I don't think they've made an inherently bad film.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
like,
disjointed, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I wish they would have slowed down. I just wish the Justice League didn't come out.
They built up way too fast, and they're understanding now, at least from Wonder Woman on, with the exception of Justice League, just take it slow, do a movie about a character. You can tie it into the world of the comics, but don't make it just, breadcrumbs to an overarching story.
Right.
You don't have to.
I want them to keep making standalone films like they're doing right now.
Yeah.
I think
I want them
standalone.
What I want them to do is assume that I know who Batman is and make a cool Batman story.
Right.
I don't need to see the origin again. We
Yeah.
already know the origin. Yeah.
Which is why
I don't. I guess like DC, I don't necessarily blame. I don't know if I trust WB with
Like,
that.
I think at this point they should just do what like Joker is doing, and I guess
Yeah.
what looks like Shazam is doing. Don't worry about making it a cinematic universe. You can have loose little breadcrumbs here and there,
Yeah.
but just make a cool movie and then maybe use the same actors
Yeah.
in each movie.
And try not
Yeah.
to like ruin continuity.
Right.
Is basically
You don't
the-
have to build towards one galactic-sized event. You can
Yeah.
just have movies exist in the same world.
Although
Yeah.
eventually I want a dark side.
I have no doubt
Heroes.
eventually we'll get another team up, but I don't think they have to do a Thanos level where all of us is building to this.
which
kind
is
of
why
thing.
I think you guys will love Shazam when you guys see it. But
I think with like going back to Joker, as much as I would love to see other movies in the style of what Gotham looks like in this, because this looks like a really interesting Gotham and the way I want it
Yeah.
to look, I don't want this to set up multiple sequels and prequels and a whole universe.
right.
Yeah.
I just want this movie about the Joker. As much as I'd like to see Batman face off against this Joker, I don't think we
Although-
need that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Batman in this film?
I
think they'll make an
okay,
appearance?
so
Batman?
Batman. Do you think, or at least like maybe
I don't know. They could do a really ambitious time skip thing. That'd
they
be
could,
really
but
interesting.
they also could be doing an alternative universe thing, and Thomas Wayne could be Batman. Because that in some universes of the comics, that is the case.
Although
yeah, that would be really.
Although that's primarily the Flashpoint universe, and in the Flashpoint universe,
Flashpoint movie.
yeah.
Allegedly, we're getting that, but I
Question
don't know if
mark?
that's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know what the production deal with that is. I kind of want it mostly so I could have more of like flat, because like my favorite part of Justice League was Flash and Cyborg, and so allegedly Cyborg is gonna be in Flashpoint. So
Because his movie's canceled.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is a real shame.
But like, I think it's. I bet you this right now. That kid in the trailer that he puts a smile on his face.
is Bruce
That kid
Wayne.
is Bruce Wayne. There is no way it's not.
Probably.
That kid is Bruce Wayne.
And
that's at
or-
his parents' funeral.
Or
that is
you know what
Thomas and
they'll
Martha
do?
Wayne's funeral.
Or you know what they'll
Batman.
do? They'll pull like they won't say anything about it, and then, like, next movie they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you know that kid, that random kid that the Joker did that thing to? He was Bruce Wayne." Kind of like they did with Iron Man 2, where he
Yeah.
like gives that where like
Yeah,
there's
that
that kid
kid
in
is
the
Peter
Iron
Parker,
Man.
yeah. Like,
But
I was just gonna say, I think this movie, while I don't want it to have sequels, I think I can see where it's gonna set up things. They're just not gonna continue on. Like, I'll bet you right now, the ending of this movie is like he falls into the vat of chemicals and gets the bleached skin, or
Yeah.
the ending shot of the movie is him killing Thomas and Martha Wayne. As much as I don't really love the whole Joker kills Batman's parents, I think that's gonna be what happens here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hope not. I hope maybe like he only kills one of them. You know what? You know what would be awesome if he killed Alfred. That would change the game.
That would change things, but and also there's nothing that says they have to follow the comics. They can change things. They already kind of
Yeah.
are.
yeah,
That would
So
yeah.
it
that would be like a really cool twist without giving us the same thing again.
But I think the film looks like it's really well shot.
Yeah.
I think the wardrobe works. Joaquin Phoenix
Looks like he's
anything,
killing it.
anything he does, honestly, based on the work he's done and everything I've seen him in, I wouldn't really be let down by anything he does.
I've loved him since I saw him in Signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to check out. I think I've talked about this, but you were never really here. If
I
you
need to
like
check that
it.
out.
But like, it's a really good film.
I think it's on Amazon Prime now.
Yes, I think it is, and
Yeah.
also Her would also interest you.
I have
guys.
seen her.
You have seen. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you
I haven't seen
what
it.
have you
Any-
And he's great in. Have you seen Signs?
I haven't seen Signs.
He's Mel Gibson's the lead, but he's the brother of Mel Gibson in the movie.
Yeah.
One of M. Night Shyamalan's early efforts that was before his downfall.
Yeah.
The ending twist is a little iffy, but the rest of the movie is great.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like Shyamalan.
But yeah, I'm excited for the film, and we'll see what happens.
All right, Sawyer, what's your news topic?
So, I have to admit, I've only seen the headline. I haven't read the whole article because I didn't have time. But I want to talk about the report that Marvel will not be announcing their Phase 4 slate until after Spider-Man Homecoming comes out,
It's
which is
weird.
in July.
It's weird that we're still in phase 4. We've been in phase
We're in
4
phase
for
3.
like 3, or still in phase 3. We've been in phase 3 for like 4 years.
Four
We've
now.
been in it since 2016,
So,
because Civil War started it.
are we getting the next Avengers?
Uh,
after? What do we do?
I think we'll get another Avengers, but the lineup's going to be completely different.
Yeah, Disney's not gonna let Marvel let go of the Avengers.
Avengers is just going to be the ban, like in comics. Avengers is the banner, but the roster changes
Yeah,
consistently.
which I think is a cool.
There'll be some carryovers. Like I don't think they're going to kill Thor. They just kind of semi rebooted him in Ragnarok. They're not going to end that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they rebooted a lot of concepts in Thor Ragnarok. Like they didn't reboot the character but like they
The
like
style and-
now like we're thinking about him in terms of like gods and goddesses, and like we're thinking about like god magic, and like we're thinking about those kinds of things, whereas like the Thor from the first Thor movie in Dark World was very much like a science is magic, that like he was still in that realm, whereas Marvel has since let go of that.
And I
So
think they're also firmly securing the idea that the 9 realms are not other dimensions. They're just
Yeah.
gates to other planets.
Yeah.
Because him and the Guardians being tied in Infinity War like they
Yeah.
were, they're just basically saying, yeah, Asgard's another planet, and they just got there. I think that
Yeah.
is ties in the universe more. And now they've got Doctor Strange and saying, yeah, magic exists. They're just gonna keep going with it.
yeah.
Sorry, you've seen Captain Marvel, right?
I've seen all the MCU.
Okay.
so, yeah.
You have not?
Yeah, go ahead and spoil
Okay.
it.
I was gonna say, do you think we'll see more of the scrolls, or?
I don't think we will in Endgame.
I
not
so
like after-
so I
yeah.
think there's a shot actually that phase 4 and 5 or something is whatever it ends up sort of panning out to be is like the Skrulls arc, and the final Avengers film is the Skrulls.
So,
I don't know how much I can say because I don't want to spoil it.
yeah, I know,
But
but
do they beat the Skrulls in this movie?
Do you care, honestly?
No.
Okay.
No.
The Skrulls end up being...
I stopped caring about this movie the moment I read anything that Brie Larson said.
The Skrulls... I agree, but the Skrulls end up not being the bad guys.
So wait, they're like the friggin' Patriots?
So,
well, they're not the Patriots.
They commit to the idea. So remember how the Kree bad guy Ronan in Guardians 1
Oh,
was
yeah.
the bad guy? They commit to the ideas, and through, conveniently Captain Marvel not having any of her memories, they commit to the idea that the Kree are imperialistic terrorists, and she was fighting for them, but she didn't have her memories, so she didn't know that. Because they're the ones who kidnapped her, and because of events in the movie, she lost her memories. And they said the Skrulls are just running from the
Kree.
From the Kree.
Which is insane, because like the
Interesting.
scroll,
They deeply changed the comic.
which is like, because the
Yeah,
scrolls are a major.
the scroll were the imperialists
Yeah.
in the comic.
They did make a point of saying that like there are so many groups of Skrulls spread out throughout the galaxy, and they don't know where each other are. So it could just be that this group was good, but the rest are not. We don't know, but they did make a point of saying that this group.
yeah.
Was
So in any case, based on that, like that movie takes place so long before all of these films. I think about what Vision said in Civil War, his speech about how the fact that we exist and are so powerful invites challenge, which invites like X, Y.
Which
He
has
gives a
basically been
Yoda
the motto
speech,
for
basically.
Phase 3 the entire time.
And so I think that given that, I'd be very surprised if by the time that Endgame wraps, I don't know if they're necessarily the end credits scene, but I think like as we close out phase 4 or 5 or whatever, this like, and it might not be the next Avengers film, it might be a new whatever event film, like Secret Wars or something like that. I think the Skrulls will take a more nefarious position, because I think that's a really cool storyline, because it's like superheroes, it's not that they're fighting because they have some ideological conflict or something like that, it's just that they can't trust each other.
Yeah.
I think like that's interesting, especially based on like I remember watching one where it was like Cap was like, I don't know if I can trust you anymore, and it turns out he was a Skrull.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff like that was like that's cool. So I think it'd be a wasted opportunity if they were just like nice,
Like,
random citizens.
that was one of the only things in the movie that I didn't totally love because it's always been ambiguous with the comics saying the Kree and Skrull, like none of them are great, none of them are totally bad. It's just kind of been they both are kind of iffy.
Right, yeah.
This one firmly says no, Kree are bad. They have always been bad. Skrulls are good.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge fan of that. That being said, I think if we go back to the original Avengers in 2012, the end credit scene was teasing Thanos as the next big bad
Yes.
we're leading up to. Endgame, the ending of that is going to tease the next big bad we're leading up to.
Yeah.
I think it's Galactus. Because now they've gotten the rights to the Fox library.
that'd be
That means
cool.
they have Fantastic Four and they've got Galactus.
That'd be cool.
I
That'd be
think-
really cool.
I think the ending teases that, and then I think it's gonna say, like, after so and so what happens. There is no doubt in my mind that in Phase 4, a Fantastic Four reboot is part of that. Similar to how they used the Guardians to lead into the whole Thanos thing, the Fantastic Four reboot is gonna lead into Galactus.
What, you mean they're not going to use the cast from Fan Four Stick?
That's a good cast. I honestly would like
Yeah,
to see
that
that
is a good
cast.
It's not a
Yes.
bad cast, especially
Especially
yeah.
if you have Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan played
Yeah.
Black Panther and
I mean, Killmonger and yeah.
Killmonger.
Although Killmonger is dead
Or
now.
Killmonger, sorry.
And they could just be like, huh, you look familiar. And then
Yeah.
I'd just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Like, I think so. What do you guys think we're gonna get in Phase 4?
Okay, so speculation time. I think Black Panther 2 is a given.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is...
So Spider-Man 3, because Far From Home was 2.
Oh, yeah, so there have been talks about how 2 might be the last Tom Holland Spider-Man.
They have a deal for 3, so I don't
Oh, they
think-
do?
At least from what I remember. Now,
That'd be
in his ones with Sony, there's a deal for 3, but his appearances in the MCU after Endgame are up, because he had 3. There was 3 each. He has 3 movies in the MCU with Sony,
Yeah.
and 3 in the MCU that are not solo films. He was
Yeah.
in both parts of Avengers, and he was in Civil War. So, does Sony keep that going after the third?
Yeah, I
Spider-Man
think
movie?
Sony would be stupid not to.
Yeah. But then they see the
so-
numbers that Venom got, and they're like, "Well, do we really need Marvel?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, well,
You
if
do.
you have... So if you have Tom Holland, and you have Venom, and you have Tom Hardy as Venom, and you have the ability to make that movie, I think there's a shot that they could do some cool stuff. I wonder how effective that would be if you don't have Peter Parker in your universe.
I mean, they've established these 2 universes, the Venom and Spider-Man universe that they've
Yeah.
got, and tonally they are both so different. I mean, then again, Venom's tone is inconsistent the entire movie,
Yeah.
so. But I think they're both visually and tonally don't really fit. Seeing Tom Holland as Spider-Man pop up in the world of Venom does not,
Makes
in
sense.
my mind, it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
I think they maybe, I mean, it's inevitable we're going to get a Venom 2, but
Yeah.
I think they keep those universes separate. Maybe you get a different Spider-Man in Venom, but they'd be stupid not to keep going with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He's too much of a money-making machine, and the public
Yeah.
loves him. They're not going to
Yeah.
get rid of him.
He's
But
too
there's-
lovable.
Yeah.
We're gonna see another Captain Marvel film.
Yeah.
soon.
We're going to get Captain Marvel 2. I mean, there's no doubt we don't get a Black Panther 2.
They've already greenlit it.
Yeah. We're going to get Guardians 3. It's going to be delayed, but we're going to get Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Uh,
With
we're
James
gonna
Gunn
get
on the
our-
helm,
Yeah.
thank the
So are we
Lord.
gonna have
Yeah.
any heroes from the Phase 2?
I think we get a Thor 4.
I think we get Thor 4. I think
we get that.
Taika Waititi probably would
Ant-Man?
have fun doing that again.
Ant-Man 3 is iffy, because Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't make a ton of money,
Yeah.
but all of these heroes have gotten trilogies.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if Ant-Man doesn't get at least a third.
Yeah.
So,
Based
alright.
on how based on what Endgame or how Endgame plays
Yeah,
out.
everything
Alright.
depends on how this movie plays out.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So what do you think our chances are? So, no, not Steve Rogers. Holy crap. Chris Evans has talked about how he's hung up the helmet he's hung up the shield after Endgame. Like, he's done. Chris Evans is done. Steve Rogers is probably dead. Let's be
So
let's be fair. So do we get a Cap 4
No.
I don't think this, at least in
starring
Phase 4, we don't
Sebastian
get.
Stan?
Maybe Phase 5, we don't get it during Phase 4.
Although no, we're getting that TV show based on them. Never mind.
Yeah.
But what do you think is gonna Who do you think's gonna die? Like gonna.
I think
Iron Man
Who's gonna-
and Cap are
Yeah.
dead.
I
They're
think
dead.
Steve is 150% dead in this
Yeah.
movie.
He's too
Stark-
much center stage.
Yeah.
Like,
Tony Stark, it makes sense, and they're setting that up in the trailers. But he's also too much of a money making machine.
yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. doesn't seem tired of it yet.
He doesn't seem to like Chris Evans is like, yeah, I want to start directing. I'm out, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Robert Downey Jr. has never said anything specifically about I'm out. It's people just assuming because of his contract.
Yeah.
yeah.
Marvel has renewed his contract before.
Yeah.
So
well, and
Yeah.
he to be fair, he has flip flopped on this. Like, he used to be like, "Yeah, I'm out after this. See you guys."
Yeah.
And now he's like,
because he got $71 million to appear in
Yeah.
both Avengers and Spider-Man.
Mhm.
So
yeah. But I bet he also has fun doing the movies.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't seem like
He's having a bad time, at least.
I think they'll keep him around for supporting roles and cameos, but we're not going to get an Iron Man 4. That's not
No.
happening.
Yeah.
I think
Although there have been talks. Black Widow's happening.
Black Widow's happening. We're going to probably get a Doctor Strange 2, and I'm
Yes.
looking forward to that.
I'd be surprised if we didn't get a Doctor
We'll
Strange.
get Doctor Strange 2. We'll get Black
we, need
Widow.
that, we need that payoff, man.
Okay, so let's count. 'Cause how many were in Phase 3? That we had Civil War. Even
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Oh, I'm doing it chronological.
Oh,
order.
sorry, yeah.
So Civil War. What else was 2016?
Spider. Oh wait, no, that was 17.
Oh, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Civil War,
was
Doctor
2016.
Strange, and then 2017 has
Spider-Man
Spider-Man.
was not first, but it was.
Okay.
Okay, well, we can do it. Spider-Man, Thor, and there was one other one in 2017.
Guardians.
Guardians 2.
Guardians 2. That's right.
And then 2018,
Black
Infinity
Panther,
War,
Infinity
Black Panther,
War.
and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man 2.
And then Endgame and Spider-Man Far From
Yeah,
Home.
yeah.
So 10. So that means
Is Far From Home still Phase 3?
allegedly, because Ant-Man was part of Phase 2.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Inhumans.
Which one?
Inhumans.
Oh,
No.
that's toast.
Here, look up the Wikipedia for that, just because.
Because there's
In
Slate
Humans,
has
they tried to
changed
do
a
like
lot.
weird TV stuff with that, and
And
it
it
didn't
sucks,
launch.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're
Were they gonna make a TV, like a movie based on like the stuff that they did with the TV, like Agents of Shield?
probably, but I think Shield was meant to set it up, and then the movie just
Man, what a wild idea! That would have been really cool, actually. Like, if they managed to get like those cast members as the Inhumans, that would have been really cool. And then you had like Clark Gregg somewhere in there.
I
That
think
would've
it
been
was
cool.
mostly because Jeff Loeb, head of Marvel TV, and Kevin Feige don't get along.
Phase 3.
I think the Eternals. We know we're getting the Eternals.
We didn't get. We didn't miss anything.
Yeah. So we know we're getting the Eternals. We're gonna get Shang-Chi. I think.
Oh yeah.
Black Widow, Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Guardians 3, Spider-Man 3. That leaves us 2 slots. Probably another Avengers movie, so I'll put another one up for that. And Thor 4.
Fantastic Four.
And
maybe-
oh wait, no, we're forgetting the X-Men though.
They're gonna wait on X-Men. They're not dropping that this.
I don't know. There have been talks about them like they're going. Like,
I think
they're-
we get Fantastic Four before we get X-Men.
I think that makes sense.
I think because at least they won't do it anytime soon in production because they're not. At least they're not going to put it out like in a reboot for a 2021 release date because we've got Dark Phoenix and New Mutants both coming out this year. So they're going to finish off the
Yeah.
Fox lineup and then turn around and reboot it 2 years later. Doesn't make sense.
Oh man, I hope they don't reboot it. I just want them to like. I want them to like event film them together. Like I want them
X-Men
to
meet
like.
Fantastic
I want
Four.
them to like crisis them together somehow. Like
See, I don't want that
I
because
do, but you don't want James McAvoy in the same movie
the
as
timeline doesn't match up.
I don't care. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't care about any friggin' timelines.
The timeline
we
and
don't-
canon of X-Men is already so
Yeah.
screwed as it is. I want to see
Exactly.
a legitimate linear timeline and canon with X-Men.
Yes. So what we do is we sort of soft reboot them. So we smash all of the universes together with we use Galactus to do this too, by the way. Like Galactus shows up in the X-Men world and somehow they end up in the MCU and then stuff in the MCU happens and boom, the timelines reset, everything's weird, and now we're in this X-Men MCU world, and
You
it's
know,
awesome.
Theoretically, that could be the end of Endgame. because of the time
Yes.
stones. So theoretically,
Yes.
you could be looking
Yes.
at that 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
So all I'm saying is, I want James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender in an MCU film.
I see
This
what
is
you're
what
saying,
I want.
but I don't think it's gonna happen. Now, I can see them eventually being cast in an MCU
See,
film.
but like this is my thing. Like they're talking about recasting the Defenders, and that really sucks.
But think about this: if they kept going with this timeline, or you're not gonna have any more Hugh Jackman Wolverine. You're not gonna have any Patrick Stewart Professor X.
We're not getting any of that anyways.
I know, like I'd rather just have a new Wolverine.
You'd rather have like. But you'll have a new Wolverine anyways.
Yeah, but I want all new X-Men, all
you
new.
want all of them to be
Scrap
new?
the timeline, get rid of all of it, all the baggage, all the BS they added in over so long.
Oh,
just
but,
like
but Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy
they're great actors and they had some great
and
scenes.
Quicksilver.
Oh, okay, Quicksilver's like the one character that I'm like, okay, maybe you can come over. But like, I don't want to deal with all the Jennifer Lawrence garbage from those
Yes,
movies.
get
in
rid of
this.
friggin' Jennifer Lawrence and keep everybody else.
It is hilarious how little blue makeup she has
Oh,
in this
it's
new
really
one.
funny.
Like, you put side by side a photo of her in
Yeah.
this and her in First Class.
Yeah.
It is hilarious.
All right, we really like these movies, guys. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna go to topics. Ahmad, what's your first topic, my good friend?
Love Death and
Love
Love
Death.
Death.
Like,
Love Death.
wow, we
Love-
really-
love, deaf, and robots.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
Well,
Alright, Love, Death, and
Netflix is
Robots.
Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, so
Season
David
1.
Fincher is a executive producer.
I believe so.
Is an executive producer on this Netflix original series.
Pull up the IMDb page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an animated anthology series with different animation styles with each episode, which I find fascinating. I just love anything that David Fincher's attached to, and I think that.
Well, don't forget Tim Miller.
Oh, yeah, also Tim
Yeah,
Miller.
Tim Miller being on this project means that it was gonna be wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really good animated series. Do you want me to just read off?
Yeah, it's
like,
your
some of
topic.
them?
You
So
go through
Ahmad
it.
and Sawyer have seen them. They're allowed to spoil it for me because I'm probably never gonna get around to watching.
Granted,
this.
even if where there's 18 episodes, so we're not going to get to all of them. But I mean, you and I are probably just going to talk about the ones we really liked. We'll
Yeah.
just go through, and if there's something we want to talk about, we'll just say, hey, let's talk about that.
Yeah, that works. So Sonya's Edge.
Sonya's
So,
Edge.
pretty good. I
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good first episode for the.
I like the
series.
animation style.
The animation style was cool. I didn't see the twist coming. The twist at
Oh,
the
I
end.
didn't see it either.
The twist at the end was crazy.
And that's another thing we should mention. A lot of these episodes have a big third act. I guess you really shouldn't say third act because we're only 6 minutes, but they have a very big ending twist in most of these.
twist, yeah, which is what I enjoyed. 3 Robots, I thought was sweet.
3 Robots was hilarious. Is
Yeah.
that really the second episode?
Yeah, number 2, yeah.
Oh. Well, I guess I got a different order on my Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how it went on the.
Yeah, I
Well,
did see a
actually,
report.
no.
A lot of these got different orders.
Yeah, actually, no, because the second one I remember being a different one.
Yeah,
But,
I got.
was it the one with the witness where
That might have been second for me, but yeah, Netflix experimented with different users getting different orders of episodes because it didn't matter.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
the order that I watched them in and Ahmad watched them in could be different.
Yeah. 3 Robots I thought was sweet.
It's hilarious. I
I
love
thought
the
it was-
humor in it.
Yeah.
Animation was great. I would like to see a whole series based on that.
Yeah, and it has a good message to it.
There's a lot of episodes in this series that I would like to see a whole series
Oh, yeah.
based on.
Oh, yeah.
I think you've talked about that with Black Mirror too.
Yeah, Black Mirror, like USS Callister. It could be a
Yeah.
whole series based on
Yeah.
that.
The Witness, which I thought was a nice
Unique.
story. It's
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, nothing really stood out to me in terms of just the story, but I thought it was pretty well told and the animation style worked as well.
Yeah.
Thought it
And I
was
thought doing it all without dialogue was a nice change of pace,
Oh,
as
that's
a lot of these have.
good. Yeah, right. Dialogue and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Especially 3 Robots.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is basically all dialogue.
pretty much
Yeah.
all dialogue. Suits.
That was the.
That was the one with on the planet.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they
That
found
was
out-
awesome.
That one was awesome to see, and that's one episode that I would like to see more of.
Yeah, I think an animated movie would be great. I
Yeah.
don't know about a TV series, but a movie would be great.
Movie, yeah.
I liked it was very Now I hate to compare it to this, but the animation style kind of reminded me of Fortnite a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
But that's why I was nervous going in, but it ended up being really good.
Yeah.
Ahmad, are you about to look up Fortnite?
No.
I was gonna say like, how could you not have seen that?
I was gonna look up.
He was messing with his.
I was gonna look
computer,
up.
and
I was gonna look up like an image of Suits just to
Oh.
just like look up because just remember the animation style. Because I mean I do remember it. I would like to get another like just look at it. All right, Sucker of Souls.
I did not like that one. It was.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't know. Oh wait, I have to remember. The ending was very like just.
I don't even really remember the.
Well,
it was so
they
forgettable.
all die.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of these characters and all these all die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the
There's-
running gag.
Is there any gag of the series that they all like exploded at the
Oh,
end?
they
or
don't
something
like
like
always.
that?
There's
Yeah.
always something bad that happens at the end of all
Yeah.
of these for the most part.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's a very violent like
No happy endings.
yeah.
in
There's no
these.
happy yeah, and then the very violent.
Oh, except I think one might have a happy ending, but I can't remember. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, but very violent.
Very violent.
I think it's like it was like a nice little like joyride kind of like it's just very action packed and it was interesting because like
it was really the only anime one.
yeah pretty well and I wouldn't say I don't know if I'd say anime but it was more
Well,
like
I mean, like in the kind of like crazy over the
CG,
top.
yeah. When the yogurt took over.
Honestly, like
I
I actually
What a title, man.
So I enjoyed this one more than the one about
the alternate histories. We'll
the
get to
alternate
that
history one.
The-
Yeah, I
like,
enjoyed.
You go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like it's just like this little like weird and quirky. Like it's pretty much the gist of it is based on the title.
Yeah.
This yogurt,
A
this-
sentient yogurt.
The sentient yogurt takes over the world, pretty much like makes the human like population like. Kind
Oh,
of,
and it's not like a yogurt that like spontaneously grows human appendages. No, it's like literally a bowl of yogurt.
Yeah, like a-
there
it's
is
like a
no,
coma,
there's
yeah.
no appendages or
Yeah.
anything.
yeah, and
Huh.
it takes over the world and it decides that there's nothing left for the yogurt on the planet. So they like the whole
Blast
yogurt
off.
population blasts off.
Like I mean, even knowing the spoilers, even knowing the spoilers, it doesn't really matter because it's all a comedy. Like it's a sentient yogurt that's like, we're gonna try and fix the economy, but you have to follow our directions to the letter. And he's like, but naturally humans did not listen. And it cuts real quick, and the world was just in shambles. Just everything is
Stuff like that. So it decides that like yeah.
But do you remember the why there's one place that isn't? The one thing the
Oh,
yogurt requests
yeah.
that they want from the U.S. government is Ohio.
is Ohio.
Is Ohio?
Yeah, it's Ohio.
It's Ohio.
The yogurt goes like, we want Ohio. And then they give it to them. And so Ohio is the one place on Earth left untouched.
Untouched.
And then the yogurt blasts off and like, what happens when they leave us behind?
And
it's
like, they all like they just
yeah. It's ridiculous and it's stupid, but
Wow.
it's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is, I think, arguably probably like one of the stronger ones out of the series, out of the entire series. Beyond the
Aquila Rift.
yeah.
My favorite episode of the entire series.
Yeah.
If you're gonna watch one, that's okay. If you're gonna watch one, it's either for comedy's sake, when the yogurt took over, or if you like legitimate sci-fi, Beyond the Aquila Rift.
Yeah.
This could be an entire movie.
Yeah.
Like more so than any of the others, it could be a movie.
What's it about?
This is what Passengers with
This is what Passengers should have been.
So
Yeah.
you remember
Oh,
Passengers
okay,
with
Well, I didn't see the movie, but I know the
Jennifer
concept.
Lawrence
yeah.
and Chris Pratt. So
Basically, Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt having an excuse to be sexy on screen.
Basically, I mean, that's put it on the pitch meeting when.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this one is so. I'm gonna try to like summarize as best as
Yeah.
I can. It's,
Try and do this one without spoilers, because this is the one that I want him to see.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
gonna mention the ending. I'm just gonna
Okay.
mention so pretty much, just like in Passengers,
Yeah.
they're on the ship and they're about to go into hypersleep. There's like 4 members. One of the members, the captain or whatever, puts the other 3 to rest and into hypersleep or whatever.
Yeah.
And he puts himself into hypersleep and it cuts. And then can I tell him the part?
I guess that part's not really a spoiler. So you go ahead.
Cut and then he wakes up and like it's all just like broken. The ship's broken down. Something's happened and like does he wake up and
They won't take it here. Like,
Yeah,
spoil
yeah,
anything.
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, yeah.
He wakes up, and I think they said they're on a collision course, or like
They were on a collision-
they're off course.
they're off course by
Okay.
not thousands of years.
a lot, like several hundred light years.
Yeah.
They're off.
Wow.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
like everybody, and they mentioned how like this. I guess they were trying to go back to like Earth or maybe a planet.
They
so,
were
like,
trying to get to like a mining colony or something.
or something because like they mentioned this planet with like their family and something like that,
okay.
and like their family's like long dead. Because like they're obviously they're
Yeah.
like light years away. And, like,
They're beyond the Aquila Rift,
Yeah.
which is a portion of the solar system, so they're beyond that.
Yeah.
They've gone way far.
Think
Yeah.
kind of like Interstellar in a way, like how
Yeah.
like
Oh, okay.
Matthew McConaughey like just is
Like they just go like way out.
Way out,
and,
and,
there-
like,
and there's no
everybody-
real way back.
Yeah.
Getting back would take thousands of years.
yeah, and
Yeah.
there's like everybody their love is gone because all this time has passed, and they're just very confused. I think one of them is just like very confused, and they have to get like medical treatment or whatever.
Yeah, that's really all we can say.
Say without
except
spoilers.
there's an appearance of a strange woman, and that's all we can say.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
The CGI, it's all CG. There's a little bit of uncanny valley towards the middle of it.
Yeah.
But everything else, it works pretty great. It looks great, and it basically it's done by Blur Studio.
Yeah.
You guys know Blur
Blur
Studio?
is the guys who do
Like the video.
They did the
League of Legends, right?
They
Well,
did,
is
they
that
did the Star Wars Old Republic animations.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
they did
those are really sick.
they did the remastered cutscenes for the Halo 2 anniversary,
Ah.
which are amazing.
Don't they also do League of Legends?
Probably.
like,
They've done a lot of
trailers?
stuff.
Yeah.
I think they're either League of Legends or Overwatch.
I think the 4 photorealistic CGI ones in this series were all done by Blur.
Yeah, they were.
All of the ones that are done by Blur are great.
3 robots, I think was one of them.
I think Sunny's Edge,
3 robots.
3 robots,
Beyond.
and the Killer, and the Russian one.
Oh, was that the last one?
I
yeah,
think
the last
so.
one. It's the last one.
Yeah.
That was really also
Yeah.
visually. That was a really good one. Also.
Yeah, we'll get to that because I have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
Which one's next?
Right. Oh.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we get through all these.
Yeah. All right. Good Hunting.
Which one was that again?
That was the one where.
I watched them all like in binge orders. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
remember
this was
the
so
title.
20th century China. Sort of. This
yeah.
one. That was a nice one. I like.
It was interesting. It wasn't my favorite, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed the concept.
I also enjoyed the animation as well. I
The
thought it
animation
was
was
nice.
pretty.
Yeah. The dump was the big
I
deal.
did not like this one.
With the old man.
Yeah, it was just the one that had Troy Baker as the
I
voice.
think so. Yeah.
I mean, of course, if it's animated, it had to have Troy Baker in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was. I didn't like it.
Yeah,
though.
it was like a. I was like, all right, that's a.
It was like an R-rated version of like Wall-E.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Shapeshifters, I thought was cool. The U.S. Marines with the
Oh
wolves.
yes, that one. That actually might have been a Blur Studio one.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Shapeshifters
But
was great.
it was the animation style was really
Yeah.
interesting, but also just the story was like I would like to see more of this world. I think it's
like
very
that was interesting. World, like, and that's what the thing with a lot of these is they set up a world that you just want to know more about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The concept of this one, I think I'll tell you for this one.
Yeah.
I think you'd like it. It's the Marines they don't necessarily say it's Iraq, but it's just in the
Yeah.
Middle East desert.
Yeah.
And they one guy is walking barefoot in front of the Humvee and the rest of the battalion or whatever it is, and he's clearly got an edge, but you don't know why or what. And I don't want to say what,
Yeah.
but there's something about him, and the rest of the unit knows, but they don't explicitly tell you until later on.
He has. I mean, based on the title of the episode, he has his power.
Yes.
Well, but there's more to it.
There's more
Yeah.
to it.
There's
and,
okay. Yeah.
and also the story's compelling,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah,
Alright.
the story is compelling, and it does deal with the whole. It's a thinly veiled allegory for prejudice in the military.
Yeah.
It's clearly based on that.
Yeah. But in this, that's what I also thought.
Yeah.
I thought this was like a lot of these episodes were this nice sort of like return to this idea of just like using sci-fi as this like caliber for
Yeah.
yes it's based in the sci-fi world, but you could also
It tells a real story.
it tells a real story, and you could also comment on society and like what's going on in the
And in
political
only
system.
16 minutes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and like
It's
and
cool that they did short form storytelling with
Yeah.
this.
leaving the
Yeah.
audience like wanting a lot more.
This, I don't think, at least for several of these, there's a few that I've mentioned that could do long form, but for several of these, they would not work as anything more than 6-minute vignettes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
This one, like really, like I remember watching this episode and just like freaking out.
Yeah.
But Helping Hand with the astronaut,
Oh yeah, that one was tense.
that was tense, and like what happens, I'm just like, I just like couldn't help
Yeah,
but
that
like,
one,
just
it's
cringe.
It's painful, and it's tense, but it's really well done.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like
Gravity?
Yeah, I'd say Gravity's the closest comparison.
Okay.
That and like maybe a little bit just aesthetically like Alien.
Oh,
but
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, they even mentioned LV-426.
What?
They,
Oh yeah, they do. They do.
Nice.
Oh
they
yeah.
said like Pod LV-4
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Should we tell Ezra or should we just keep?
You don't want to tell him that. Yeah.
All right.
That's the whole thing.
So this one was interesting because I saw like
Which one?
So Fish Night.
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting. It was. The story wasn't the story wasn't bad, but I just thought what they were like the animation style was really amazing.
I think this one had Nolan North in the cast, maybe, or this one had somebody famous in the voice cast, or maybe this was Troy Baker in this one.
Oh, but yeah, I thought it was.
Kirk Thornton and Yuri Lowenthal.
That's why I knew there was somebody I recognized. In
Kirk,
the
I like
cast.
both of those voice actors.
Yeah.
Is it worth it, or is it just
It's pretty good. It's not the best episode of the show. It's Yuri Lowenthal. I couldn't see him as anything other than Peter Parker. in the episode,
Oh really?
So,
Yeah.
See, I see him as nothing more than Sasuke.
Ben
so
10.
you know.
yeah, it's good. It's not.
Who's Sasuke?
It's probably the
Yeah.
least
He plays
sci-fi
Sasuke in
out of
the
all of
English
them.
dub.
Would you agree with that, Awad?
What's up?
That episode's probably the least sci-fi out of all.
Oh
of them.
yeah, it's the least sci-fi, but like, it's just like this like fantasy almost. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just
It's more like a dream-like state.
yeah.
It's not really a
Okay.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's if you're
Is
going
it kind of trippy?
it's kind of trippy. It's not the general concept of Love, Death, and Robots being brutal, weird, strange action.
Mhm.
This is not any of that. It's a slower, dreamlike thing.
Okay.
Lucky 13, spaceship.
That one was awesome.
That one was cool. I
like
that
this
a
was
lot.
based straight
That's
video game.
what a name, Lucky 13. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
This is not, I will tell you guys, all the ones that are done in CGI are the ones that check out. Like photorealistic CGI.
Mhm.
Do those first because those are the best episodes.
Yeah. This is one of those.
Yeah, this is one of those.
All right, Zima Blue, the artist.
I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I did like the animation style. It reminded me of like a 2D version of The Incredibles.
Yeah.
That and a little bit of like Eon Flux, like the old school
Yeah.
MTV.
Yeah.
Back when MTV was good.
All right. Blind Spot.
Which
The
one?
cyborg crew attempts to rob a convoy.
Yeah, I thought it very much screamed like a Cartoon Network style.
Cartoon Network, yeah.
Attitude.
I thought it was a fun ride. I thought
Yeah,
it was cool.
It was a good time. That was another one of the ones where I'm like, okay, whatever. Like,
Uh-huh.
I didn't think.
This one was funny. This one was cool to watch. Ice Age, with Venom.
Wait, what?
This Ice Age. What's his? I forget.
Wait,
His,
what was the plot again? Of
okay,
this?
so like.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Topher Grace.
This one, I was like, Tom Hardy's not in any of these. So I was like, yeah,
Venom
this
from
one
Spider-Man
was.
3.
This was an interesting episode.
It
It's
was-
the
it was-
only one that's live action.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
Roger-
there's
Roger
stop
Craig
motion elements in it, but it's live action with stop motion elements.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's,
Which is probably why Roger Craig Smith is.
It's,
on the cast list.
This is
Mary
also
Elizabeth
Blur-
Winstead and
Blur
Topher
Studio.
Grace.
This is also Blur Studio.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Alternate histories. This is the one that's
Yeah.
bad.
I wouldn't say bad. I like the concept more than I like the execution.
Yeah, I thought when the episode first started out, I was like, okay, this is like gonna be interesting. But then it was just, the execution was just like, it just being like. Just
So,
really
as to
funny.
describe the concept of this one is, I was looking forward to it, and it kind of let me down. The concept is, it's like kind of like Abstergo in Assassin's Creed, but instead of it being changing history, you can just like change one thing and see how history would have played out differently if you changed that one thing.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting.
And
So,
so-
like, if you didn't have a nuke, what would?
So, like for example,
World
if
War
we
II,
didn't
but-
nuke Japan, how would history have played out differently?
Yeah, interesting.
This takes that concept, but instead of playing it straight, it does it comedically. And it does things that clearly would never have happened. And it's basically like, what would have happened if Hitler died early on? And they find different ways of killing Hitler that would have changed history.
Mhm.
And
Oh, so like it's not really what would have happened. How do we make it happen? Is kind of the...
it's ridiculous ways of killing Hitler and how history would be different in the event of him dying in this ridiculous way.
Yeah.
Like,
Interesting.
one of them is like him getting hit by a horse-drawn carriage, getting annihilated by like an alien
Or
mothership.
like,
or something like that.
dying
Like,
like by hookers. So
it's getting killed by hookers.
Oh,
Like
That's
it's
funny.
ridiculous and stupid. I enjoyed my time with it. It's only 6 minutes.
yeah.
But I would have much rather seen the concept of what happens if we change this one thing than
Than
the way this
the
actually
way it
played
was
out.
presented.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Last one, Secret War.
I quite enjoyed this
I
one.
liked it a lot. I
It
thought-
was a very video gamey style.
Yeah. 16 minutes. Again, another film, another like episode that photorealistic. Another episode that I would like to see more of. Just like
You
just
get a lot of
another-
character in only about 16 minutes.
Yeah.
And you can be like, I know how this guy is, I know how this guy is.
Yeah.
You get feelings for how these people are
Mhm.
in for most of them, because they're divided up, probably only about 30 seconds of
Yeah.
screen time
Yeah.
from a lot of them.
Yeah, and that's a good way. That's a
Yeah.
good way to sum up
It's
a lot
good
of
writing.
these. Yeah,
It's kind of like Metro, the video games.
Oh, okay.
It's
I haven't
kind of like if you
played-
took that and merged it with Order 1886.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to sum up like all of these episodes.
Man,
Honestly,
what a
It's
sad
just-
story.
they're no, you're good. I'm running really long on this
Yeah,
topic.
but I mean, we've done good on this one.
Yeah, but like so like a lot of these stories were like really well told in like a short amount of time, which is
Yeah.
like insane because like I feel like that's somewhat of an excuse for a lot of like people, filmmakers. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't have that much time. I'm working with 6 minutes. I'm working with like 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
like you're able to do a lot within that period of time. It's just
Yeah.
what you have.
It's cool. It's cool to see Netflix taking ideas. So like Black Mirror, Love, Death, and Robots now.
Yeah, I wish
It's cool. It's cool. Like even with Twilight Zone, to see companies finding ways for people to tell like standalone short form stories. I think like this is a really cool idea because it's letting the people like me who want to make a more short form idea and don't necessarily want to latch on to a 7-season long TV show.
Yeah.
It's letting them still make money off of doing that kind of project like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
having Fincher's name attached to this
Yeah.
certainly helped it get made.
Oh, yeah.
I think
That was
it's
really
interesting that a niche show like this got as big as a platform and promotion as Netflix gave it on the front page. So I'm glad that it did well. At least Netflix doesn't release numbers, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
it did well.
Yeah.
But I think they haven't announced it yet, but I hope we get a season 2 because I just want to see more stories in the
Yeah.
well, not necessarily in this world because they're all different worlds, but
Yeah, but like
more stories like this.
like
Yeah.
like these. Yeah.
More Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
So with that, I'm gonna take over. We're gonna talk about Metal Gear.
Yeah, finally, somebody has at least watched them. I've waited so
So I
long,
won't be the only
17 episodes to get.
Ahmad
here.
Ahmad is really annoyed by me because I started asking unnecessary questions in the Snake voice.
Okay, well that's
So-
anybody who starts
A book.
watching / playing Metal Gear will do that. Yeah, we finally got
Asylum.
here after so long.
The Joker.
Yeah, so
So I watched the cutscenes for Twin Snakes, and
which
I thought,
is the remake. of the
so
original.
that's the remake of the original game that was released on GameCube in like 2002. Is that right?
4, I think.
4. Keep forgetting how long the GameCube spanned. And my basic opinion on it was I liked it. I felt like the cutscenes dragged on a little too long, especially in the death cutscenes. Quote unquote spoilers.
This is gonna be Azra roasting.
He's not roasting.
I'm not
per
roasting.
se.
So these are quote unquote spoilers for a game that's been out for like 17 years or something like
No,
that.
I mean if we're talking the original version, it came out in '97. So
Yeah.
it's more than 20 years old.
when Raven, what's his
Vulcan Raven.
Vulcan Raven.
Trust me, I have this game literally memorized. There's
uh,
no way.
When Vulcan Raven dies, it goes on too long. Especially like so the way that he dies and the meaning that's put on it is cool, but they spend way too long like building up to it.
Mhm.
Whereas like they could have just had it happen and then Snake be like, huh, interesting, and then he moves on.
I think what's interesting in the concept they did is each time, spoilers technically for the first
Yeah.
one, each time a villain dies or like one of the members
Yeah.
of Foxhound, they have it some kind of message that adds to and affects
Yeah.
Snake in a way. It's
Yeah.
not like Snake, and I think this is part of Kojima's philosophy is it's not just Snake randomly killing people.
Yeah.
These deaths have an impact on him, and everything
and
they say
he's-
changes it.
And he's killing people. I
Yeah.
think is definitely part of the message
It's not
of
just
Metal Gear.
the next boss. It's
Yeah.
a person.
It's like
Yeah.
they make a very strong point, I think, which I think is smart, that you are killing human beings who have lived lives and they have done all sorts of things, and they're bringing that history
Mhm.
to the battlefield, and you have suddenly just ended that history. I think that's a really interesting angle to take a stealth game.
Yeah.
Now,
And most of them necessarily aren't fully terrible people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Sniper Wolf, I didn't walk away from her, even I felt like, again, I don't know if I really cared about her, but I didn't necessarily think she was in and of herself a bad person. I think, Revolver Ocelot's not the greatest guy. Liquid's not a good guy. I think that there are definitely, bad actors in the series.
Oh, yeah.
The Secretary of the U.S. is clearly
Well, I think
just
my
not a good
voice
guy.
actors. I'm like, really? You think there's bad voice
Oh,
actors?
no,
you are
no,
roasting
no.
it.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, not at all. I thought the voice acting was pretty great, actually.
Yeah.
But I felt like the Secretary of the U.S. was clearly a bad guy.
Yeah.
What else to say about Twin Snakes?
So I
There-
have
so-
to ask about Twin Snakes. You go ahead if you want.
So I've been enamored with a boss fight and a scene in Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance that you can really only call Rules of Nature.
Yeah.
I urge anybody to look up. It's a 50-second clip on YouTube.
Are we talking the big towards the beginning?
Yeah. The fight. So the fight towards the beginning of Rising Revengeance. Rise
Yeah.
of Revengeance.
Rise of Revengeance.
The boss fight with Metal Gear Ray is the quick time event in that where he when he ends up beating him is hilariously awesome.
Yeah.
And the soundtrack is so generic and awesome at the same time that it's thumbs up.
And is on Spotify, and I
Yeah.
listen to it
Yeah,
in the car all
I'd
the
also
time.
I'd also recommend looking up the song "Rules of Nature" because you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say. Sawyer did not particularly prepare me for this, and I think it's kind of reshaped my opinion of Metal Gear a little bit.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Rules of Nature moments in Twin Snakes. Where
I should have told you about more of that.
Yeah, which is fine. I still thought it was hilarious. I was just when I was lying in bed and Snake would jump into the air, go into bullet time, and shoot a rocket at a helicopter, and also dodge a ton of bullets. I kept screaming "Rules of Nature" at the
I should
screen.
clarify that Twin Snakes is not the original intention of Kojima.
Yeah.
Twin Snakes was made only a few years after the Matrix sequels came out, 2 or 3 years later. And they was clearly meant to capitalize on bullet time and slow-mo being a cool thing. So
Yeah.
the
There's a lot of
ridiculousness
action
of Twin
like that.
Snakes was not the original intention. It was added in because of the Matrix.
Yeah. Still,
Yeah.
I think I it was still a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I thought Twin Snakes was a lot of fun. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it.
I would say it's. I wanted to see what you thought of. Well, actually, you kind of already.
Of the original.
Well, with the original game, how the characters specifically, I don't know how to phrase this question. Where do you think this is all going to lead? Because clearly it's starting something.
So I know I've seen clips of some weird stuff with the stuff with Liquid Ocelot I think is interesting. I don't quite the
Understand
quote unquote final battle of Metal Gear 4. I don't quite know what's gonna happen with going on with that. Raiden, I'm really interested to see his arc.
Yeah.
I wanna talk about 2 in a second
Yeah.
because 2 is a totally different game.
Very totally.
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah, I thought that at the end I was really interested because I knew what was I knew that there was more coming, and 1 very much ends on you could have ended the series right here and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Even though Kojima clearly wasn't going to do that,
No.
it was you could have ended it here.
Well, the end credit scene of the first game.
Wait, what was the?
Every Metal Gear game has an end credit scene. It's always an ending phone call.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, every single one of them has it.
Metal Gear.
Yeah, I should have told you that too.
I may have
doesn't
seen.
really-
I may have seen. I as I went to the end. I guess I maybe thought that they were kind of irrelevant, but I don't know.
I mean, it always is. sometimes it actually actively is different from the rest of the canon. Like sometimes it'll set things up and it doesn't get.
So
later.
Sawyer, I will ask.
Yeah.
Ahmad wants to watch the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Does he watch Twin Snakes or does he watch the original?
Okay, so here's how I always go with it. If you want the original creator's intention and the way the characters were originally set up, go with the original one. If it will be difficult to you to connect with characters in graphics that are kind of dated,
PS1.
they're
graphics.
PS1 blocky graphics, their lips, they don't move, they barely have a face.
To be fair, they don't really move in Twin Snakes either.
Yeah.
So.
But at least they resemble a face.
Yeah.
It's not a blocky Lego man.
Yeah.
I think if graphics matter to you to engage with the characters, watch Twin Snakes. If you want the best voice acting delivery, with the exception of maybe Cyborg Ninja, you go with the original one.
I like that you called him Cyborg Ninja, even though it's not really a spoiler if all you're watching is the first
Okay,
game.
if all you're watching is the first one, because also if you're going to watch the first game, I know I kind of gave you the recap in
Yeah.
person, so it didn't really matter. But look up the Wikipedia synopsis for the original 2 games that came out on the MSX, which is an old Japanese computer, because Metal Gear Solid 1 is technically the 3rd game in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, just as long as you look up those, that and then its sequel, Metal Gear 2: Solid Snake. You read the synopsis of both of those, you're set for Twin Snakes. I'd say for most people, since to most people graphics matter, go with Twin Snakes. It's more accessible to a modern audience.
And it's so ridiculous. It's a lot
Yeah.
of fun.
Just
Like,
keep in mind that it's a little bit different from the original director's intention, and the cutscenes go a little bit more for the over-the-top, cheesy '90s perspective than the original '90s product did.
Yeah.
But all the original voice actors do come back and reprise their roles in the remake, with the exception of Gray Fox, Cyborg Ninja Gray Fox. Yeah.
yeah. So Metal Gear 2, Sons of Liberty,
Metal Gear
really
Solid 2.
Metal Gear Solid 2, excuse me. Sons of Liberty.
He's roasting.
For the
I mean,
for
it's
the
not
PlayStation
roasting.
2.
I'm clarifying. 'Cause that is a distinction in these remakes.
No,
Yeah.
it's true. It would be like calling calling a Star Wars movie Star Wars. Like you have to call it.
There is a distinction that
something.
needs to be made.
Yeah,
Because there are technically 2 Metal Gear 2s.
Yeah. So MGS 2, Sons of Liberty, I thought was good. I really connected with Raiden more as a character, and maybe that was the point. There are a lot of conflicting stories as to why Kojima created Raiden. Like, the best explanation I've heard is that he wanted a pretty anime boy to impress the ladies. And
That's actually true.
And he also wanted... I've heard a really good theory about how one of the reasons he wanted a different character in general was because he wanted the player to see Snake as the legend that he was.
Mhm.
So you can't really do that if you're playing as Snake. So if you see him as a legend by playing as Raiden instead.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. I don't know if that really came through watching the cutscenes, but I think that's so. I think both played into Raiden existing. Raiden is a pretty anime boy that you can connect with. That is meant to help you view Snake as more of a legend.
I will say, saying this, he's pretty cool.
That's his appearance in Rising Revengeance.
He has a different appearance
which is the latest game that he has appeared in, and it's the furthest.
The further he goes, the more
wild
he gets.
Yeah.
I'll try to say this as vague as possible, but I think having him as the main character and the playable character being technically irrelevant to the main plot is an interesting move that the plot kind of happens around him. He's an active protagonist, but
he's sort of subject to the whims of the people around him.
He's kind of the Rey of Rey Star Wars of this series where Rey is Kylo Ren even says it's you're not part of this story. That's kind of him, is he's the main playable character, but he's not part of this story. He just kind of stumbled in.
It's still Snake's
It's
narrative.
still Snake's narrative and world.
Yeah. I think they do some really cool stuff with the sort of Mind F stuff that they tried to do with
Yeah.
it. I don't know. I think I ended up understanding what was going on.
Like, if you really think about it,
Yeah.
think about it from the mind of somebody who just picked up, oh sweet, Metal Gear Solid 2 in
Yeah.
2001.
Yeah, they weren't really-
Puts this game in and goes,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Like,
see,
it's
Yeah,
like-
I guess like for me, I was I was prepared to like not know what was going on at some point, and I still really kind of understood the base plot.
Yeah.
I will say I really liked the scene with where he talks about his past with Rose. I think I think my running critique of the Metal Gear Solid franchise, as I understand it right now, is that I care a lot more about the codec conversations than I do the actual plot of what's happening.
I will say that carries on for the most part in 4. The codec conversations, just due to the time period, are slightly absent in 3. There are
Okay.
still codec conversations, but most of them aren't relevant to the plot. They're just
Okay.
kind of cool character things.
Okay. So like 2 I think did a really good job of like merging the two storylines, but they were still separate enough. Like the whole Patriots thing was kind of separate from the Solid as Snake stuff.
Oh,
Um,
I can't really tell you a whole lot about that yet. 'Cause that's, ooh.
Well, and I'm still kind of, and I think like you don't have to say anything about it just because like I'm still unclear about what the Patriots are.
Yeah, so am I.
So what I'm what I'm really looking forward to in all of this is having an excuse to watch Rising Revengeance through, because I really just want to see the Senator Armstrong fight in context.
Even though that came out before 5, I would still say do 5 before you do Revengeance. Just because 5
okay,
is
yeah.
more in line with the tone of everything else.
Yeah.
Going from Revengeance into 5, the tone is
Yeah,
so
sure,
different.
yeah,
It
yeah.
doesn't really.
Yeah, I guess like
Yeah.
that's probably the only thing I'll break from release order from, because I'm gonna do it in release order because I think presentation kind of matters in this circumstance. But yeah, I'll probably do that. Also, it's so separate. Like Senator Armstrong wouldn't make sense in any of these games.
Rising Revengeance essentially is a completely different series. It just carries the Metal Gear name
I
and a
really
character.
I really hope that like Konami could at least just give Platinum a
Yeah, like,
sequel.
I don't
Like,
think I don't want.
like-
I mean, coming from a massive fan like I am, it's surprising to hear. But I don't want any more Metal Gear Solid games.
Yeah, just give him more
Like,
Metal Gear Rising.
Just
games.
make the spin-offs with Raiden, give them to Platinum, because
Yeah.
the first one was great. I think if you get another Solid game,
Yeah.
either remaster them for a current generation of consoles, or maybe, I guess there's a couple ideas I could have for a potential game, but I don't really see how the game would
Yeah.
play out so much as the movie.
Yeah, I hope it's not as inevitable as it seems that Konami would make another one.
I think if we get anything, it's going to be a port to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, or whatever this next generation of consoles
Just
is.
like
Yeah.
an HD port of all of them.
They're not even necessarily HD to say, hey, put them all on a disc and ship it out.
That
Like,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have-
the Patriots.
Yeah.
He's
I have-
looking at the rise of the New England Patriots.
I have one question for you
Yes.
in the context of this. Ahmad, you should be paying attention to this, man. This is the most.
I don't know anything you guys are talking about.
The one thing I have to ask for this is: does knowing that MGS2 stars a different character than Snake going in change your experience? Like,
Oh
does,
yeah.
does knowing,
Yeah. I totally get the fan outrage about that, but I will say, good on you, Kojima. Like, good job. Like that's really impressive, and I think, like. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess like I cared a lot less going in, like especially because like I didn't like Snake wasn't as revolutionary as he was. So yeah, we should
Yeah.
wrap this up.
The
actually.
last thing I want to say about this was I wish I could see the original script for 2 because 9/11 changed the script. There was a couple of things they were going to do, but they changed it.
Interesting.
Like
Because it came out after.
after,
Yeah.
like only a couple of months after, I think.
November?
Or maybe it was.
November.
It might have been November.
That's way too.
Well, not November. I think it might have been. Let's see. 'Cause I don't. All I know is that something changed it before it was released. Like they cut something. So I don't.
Huh.
I think. I don't know what
That's
it was.
a really short time frame to cut anything in a video game.
They did, I don't know what it was, but
Might
they
have been
cut
just-
something. I think there was like when Metal Gear Ray is landing, they changed it from seeing.
He might
mirrors.
like destroy a building or something.
Yeah, I think
like
they
that.
changed some of
Yeah.
the shots of that. I don't. I guess.
I like that I called Metal Gear Ray a he. That's
Yeah,
funny.
I shouldn't have said they changed the script. They do change some moments in
Yes,
the original.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of things changed.
Yeah,
Like-
Spider-Man changed.
Like there were a lot of things that were like people were going to do in their movies or games or something, and they just straight up didn't do because of 9/11.
so,
so-
we need to move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to move on.
Excited to
Sawyer,
hear
do
about
you
your
want
opinions
to
on that.
talk about Star Trek still? Or...
I can do it real quick. Probably. I can blow through it because I don't have a whole lot to say.
Because we're going to be talking
Yeah.
about a whole other
Yeah,
franchise.
which is why I wanted to briefly say something on there.
Yeah.
So over spring break, I watched the Star Trek original series and the 6 movies with that cast.
Yeah.
Not counting Generations because that's a separate cast.
yeah.
So the first 3 seasons, I thought season 1 was excellent. Only had like 1 or 2 misses. Best episodes of that season being Balance Terror, I think is what it's called.
Mhm.
Great episode. It's kind of like Hunt for Red October, but in Star Trek.
Oh, neat.
Great. If you want to start off with a good Star Trek episode, that's of the original series. That's what you start with. What? No, actually, I think that's what it was called. Errand of Mercy was a Klingon one. That's pretty good. There's several good ones in the original series. The only one I hated was Alternative Factor. That was garbage. Incredibly boring. I like the cast. The dynamic between Spock, Kirk, and Bones was great.
Okay.
I thought season 2 was pretty hit or miss. There were some episodes that were great, some were not so great. I thought the increasing reliance on time travel and hey, we don't have the budget to do the future, so we're going to use
The past.
We're going to use the time travel to say we can do an episode in the Old West. I thought that got a little tired. The final episode of season 2 was not good. I mean, partially because it was just a backdoor pilot for another show. Season 2 was pretty hit or miss. Season 3 was very clearly though we have no money left. We're doing whatever we can. There's a couple good ones in there, like the Enterprise incident, but most of them were very cheesy, like the Space Hippies episode. Anytime you try and do Space Hippies in any series,
Space
it's
Hippies.
always bad.
Dude, the 60s, man.
Yeah. Like, first 3 seasons, great. You can clearly see where Star Trek started, but as you can just see by releases, Star Trek didn't really come into its own until the 90s. However, the movies, I think, are when they truly started to get what Star Trek was down.
Yeah.
The first movie's pretty boring, but looks pretty and the soundtrack's great. Second movie, Wrath of Khan, classic, all-time
Yeah.
classic. Probably the best movie in the series, I would argue. Arguably. Then there's the third one, pretty good. It's the only one that really breaks the curse of odd ones being bad, even ones being good.
Yeah.
It's kind of lighthearted. I mean, Star Trek movies get pretty lighthearted with the original cast for the most part. You actually get a pre-Back to the Future Christopher Lloyd as a Klingon bad guy in the movie, in the third one.
Neat.
Fourth one, it's funny. It's very 80s. Very 80s.
Okay. Okay.
You
don't
also
know what that means.
It's in just terms of like
Just aerobics.
they go back in time into the 80s, and there's like a lot of like pop culture jokes and Cold War jokes, and of course Chekhov being Russian, him asking where the nuclear vessels are.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was good. Fifth one is strange and weird, and the script doesn't make sense, and the characters don't act like themselves. I did not like the fifth one. Sixth one, probably the best one since Wrath of Khan. Great ending to the original cast, even though several of them would pop up in cameos in later installments. But in terms of the ending to the original series, the sixth movie is really where it happens.
Okay.
And ties in to Next Generation, because it came out during Next Generation's run.
Oh.
And so they show Worf's grandfather in the movie.
Wow.
He only has like a scene, but it's
So-
he's also played by Michael Dorn, which is great. But
Yeah. So
that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I would say if you are interested in Star Trek, I would say maybe look up a episode order guide or like a skip guide, because for a casual fan, I had already had some experience with Star Trek because I'd watched a lot of episodes with my dad, so I already had some exposure to it. If you're interested in Star Trek, look up like a skip guide of some of the best episodes, because the ones that are bad are bad.
or
So-
just watch The Trouble with Tribbles and be done with it.
Yeah. Triples is a great episode.
Yeah.
I know Dad
That one's a lot
disagree
of
with me
fun.
on this one, but I like Triples.
I want to watch these just like because just out of sheer interest, out of like how
Yeah.
cheesy they can get and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Off camera, or not off camera, but off mic, I'll give you
Yeah.
some more recommendations of which
Yeah.
ones to hit.
Yeah.
So that's really all I wanted to say. Just check it out. But if you're a Next Generation fan, it's different. But you'll probably
Next Generation is a lot different.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
let's move on.
So let's move on. We thought that since this is kind of our comeback episode in a lot of ways, we thought go big or go home. So we're gonna do Star Wars.
Do you want me to get
Live action.
the three that we have barely in time for out of the way real quick?
Yes,
so we can
real quick.
Okay.
Real quick.
So we're only doing the live action movies.
Yes.
That means no Clone Wars movie, but we are talking about the episodes 1 through, I guess, 8 at this point. 9's not out yet.
Yeah.
Solo and Rogue One. I wanted to briefly mention, because I'm stubborn and the
Yes.
completionist, the Holiday Special and the 2 Ewok movies, because even though they're not canon, they exist. Holiday Special is a cheesy, good, fun time to watch with your friends and just make fun of, but it's a terrible. It's not
Oh,
even
okay,
really,
good. I thought you were actually gonna like call it a good movie
No,
for a second.
it's not even really a movie. It's a loose narrative tied into a variety show. It's
Okay.
not even really a movie. But it's a hilarious time to watch with your friends if you can find it on YouTube or Vimeo or something, because it was never officially released on home video. It was aired once in 1978. I think it was November 1978, and never aired again. The only reason it survives today is because fans taped it back in '78, and it's circulated at conventions since then.
And now
So-
it's like online.
And
or
now it's
something.
online, so you can find it on there. It's cheesy. It's horrible. It's not even really a movie. It's just a variety show with a loose Star Wars narrative. And like Carrie Fisher's drunk in the film, and Harrison Ford clearly doesn't want to be there. Mark Hamill, after his accident, had like tons of makeup put on, so he looks shiny. Yeah, it's awful. Ewok movies 1 and 2. The first one is clearly an 80s after school special. The Ewoks don't blink, so it's kind of creepy. They didn't add the blinking into the Ewoks until the special edition of
Caravan of Courage.
Caravan of Courage. It's dumb. It's such an 80s
Oh
after
my
school
god,
special.
these Ewoks look terrifying.
Yeah, the Ewoks don't blink, and granted they didn't in Return of the Jedi, but
Yeah.
until the special editions.
Yeah.
But yeah, Caravan of Courage. The older brother is annoying. The little girl can't act to save her life. The parents clearly just walked off the set of some other show and didn't know what they were in. The Gorax, the main bad guy, the effect is pretty interesting, but I mean it's been done better in other movies. The second one, Battle for Endor, I don't know what kind of script, more like what mindset George Lucas was in when he wrote this script. Spoilers, but who cares? They kill off the entire family at the beginning of the first movie, except for the little girl.
Oh
Like
my
they're like,
God.
oh, happy ending at the end of Caravan of Courage. Next movie, everyone's dead, including several Ewoks.
Except for the little girl.
Except for the little girl and Wicket and a couple other Ewoks, and they stumble upon Wilford Brimley in the forest, and he starts like, "Get out of here! I don't want you to know." Just this
Oh
weird
my
voice.
God.
Like
And apparently he says the F
I'm pretty
word.
sure like mumbled under his breath, Wilford Brimley says the F word. Like watch the honest trailer for these if you can find it, because it's
That's really funny.
they mention it.
Is
Yeah,
it in
it's
the 90s or late 80s?
late 80s, like 80, actually mid 80s, like 84, 85.
Oh.
Yeah, it's entertaining. They actually retcon the witch into being a Night Sister from the Clone Wars.
Honey.
It's actually a pretty entertaining time. Like if you're gonna watch any of these, Battle for Endor actually isn't terrible. Surprisingly enough, it's cheesy and it's dumb, but it's a good time.
Yeah.
The Ewoks still don't blink, so it's kind of creepy. Yeah, I just was impressed by their willingness to just be like, oh, you remember the happy ending? Everyone is dead except for the little girl.
They Thanos them at
No,
the
and
beginning of the next
and
movie.
it's not just like they wrote them out. They're in the movie. They just get brutally murdered at the beginning.
Nice.
Obviously, the parents are recast. But
Yeah.
Everybody else gets brutally murdered.
Oh my
like,
god.
yeah. So that covers it all. Just
yeah.
I recommend if you're a Star Wars fan, just finding them on YouTube because wow.
All
I
right.
want to watch those.
So,
We'll have to do a commentary at some point.
Yeah.
all right. Star Wars. All right. So we're gonna go in chronological order because these guys don't care about presentation at all.
And I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay with going slightly over if we have to.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If we have to,
I mean, it's Star Wars. It's Star Wars.
it's Star Wars.
All right, so
We also went way too long on Love, Death, and Robots and Metal Gear. So,
Yeah, so-
I felt bad that I went like long on.
Oh,
Different Robots.
it's fine.
It's fine. This is a weird show. We're still getting back into it.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
All right, let's start,
so
let's
we're gonna
start.
we're gonna go with Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, Episode 1.
Okay.
I said that all wrong, but that's okay.
So
So I'm gonna say I'm not gonna fight with them about this one because I think there's enough to defend about it that it's like it's fine.
This is
I would say
only
for
fighting.
me, What?
So this is gonna all be fighting.
Oh yeah. It's mostly gonna be them versus me. By the way, like that's how this is gonna go.
That's how it always goes.
I think that like there's another like the pod racing scene like the now this is pod racing is stupid, but the pod racing scene is really cool. Like,
It was
the whole-
fun
the
to
whole
play in
thing.
the Lego Star Wars movie game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was. And the Darth Maul fight is worth the movie. I'll say that.
The soundtrack is also great.
Yeah.
I will say this as like a blanket statement. John Williams soundtracks are always great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the cast, the core cast was for the most part great.
Yep.
I mean,
Liam
they did-
Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Mace
Ray
Sam
Park,
Jackson.
Ray Park. I don't hold it against the kid, Jake Lloyd. I mean,
It's not his fault.
it's not his fault. I don't blame him.
Yeah.
Natalie Portman, for what she was given, was fine.
Again, I don't like this movie.
Yeah.
But those are yeah.
I will say the ending battle of Naboo looks like a Windows 95 background. at this
Oh my
point.
god, yeah.
By today's standards, it does.
Juxtaposed with how pretty the Darth Maul fight is.
Yes.
But-
So they had like a marathon over some spring break on TNT of just like all the Star Wars movies, and I binged them all.
Yeah.
And those last few shots in episode 1 are kind of like unbelievable. Like
They
they're
have
just
not
like
aged well.
they have not aged well. Like they look like they could have been like out of like the Lego Star Wars game, dude. It was just really bad.
Yeah, obviously, I don't have time to go into my whole theories and speculations and all this stuff. I think part of the problem was starting off Anakin at being 9 years old. I think
Oh, yeah.
if you start the movie with Anakin being even like 15, it would have worked better.
There were a lot of strange like trying to make the Jedi weirdly religious
Yeah.
things. Like George Lucas could have handled that a lot better and made better films if he hadn't made those decisions. But he was like, "Oh no, the Jedi like him young." Like that.
I would have rather seen like this trilogy started with Attack of the Clones, where we already have
Yes.
Anakin as a knight.
I agree.
We have a middle movie of Anakin in the Clone Wars getting darker, and
I
then the
agree.
final one being Order 66.
I agree. Yeah, like the trying to do like two movies in one movie with Attack of the Clones was kind of weird. So like
'Cause when you really look at it, this movie to the entire rest of the saga is pretty irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really matter.
Qui-Gon Jinn doesn't really matter unless you factor in the Clone Wars.
I do
Darth
like
Maul
him,
doesn't
but-
really matter unless you
Yeah.
factor in the Clone Wars and Rebels. Like, it's all like that stuff is all cool and they're cool concepts. I think it might be. I don't know if it's the best one of the prequels,
It's
but
not.
it's the one that has like at least the most well defined world. I think
It's the most practical sets
yeah.
of the prequels. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I just yeah.
we can't mention the cast without saying Ian McDiarmid is great
Yeah.
as
He's great in all of them.
Yeah.
Like he's terrific.
I mean, I think we have to talk about Jar Jar.
Okay, Jar Jar.
Jar Jar gets too much hate. I'll say
I
that.
understand why he's there. He's clearly there for the child audience. Also, if we're being being honest, he's pretty much the same as the Ewoks. If we're being he's
Yeah.
there for a moment of comedy and for the kids. And if you
Yeah.
line it up, the amount of like Ewok jokes and Ewok scenes compared to the amount of Jar Jar jokes, it lines up pretty evenly. Jar Jar obviously has a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, like as a kid watching like episode 1 or even like some of the two other prequels, like I think
Yeah.
just like the political stuff just like flew over my head kind of.
Yeah.
It was just like more of the boring parts, but like the parts that stood out to me probably just Darth
So-
Maul.
This movie for a kid is probably pretty boring.
I felt like I guess like watching the Phantom Menace, I've always been not offended by Jar Jar, and everything else was the problem.
I mean, I never thought.
that's my
Honestly, I just think just Jar Jar is just like as a kid, I thought it was funny. Like I thought
Yeah.
it was like this cool like.
Yeah,
character.
I don't think the concept of Jar Jar is bad. I just thought having him have that weird high pitched voice was not a good decision. Like,
Jar
if you
Jar.
just kept the same thing
I
with
need
him
it.
being kind of bumbling, like that's fine. I mean, C-3PO and R2 messed up a lot.
Yeah.
Like I think everything he does in the movie doesn't bother me. It's just the voice kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
No hate against the Med Best. I think he did fine with what he was
Yeah.
given. I
And
just
don't
think
tell
that-
him to kill himself,
Yeah.
you jerks.
Yeah,
Goodness
Oh my
gracious.
god.
Yeah, I think what he did fine with what he was given, but I think really the voice was the only issue with Jar Jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, how can I be a Star Wars fan? I don't totally loathe Jar Jar. Oh no.
Yeah.
You're a fraud.
All right. So Attack of the Clones is my least favorite of the.
It's the one that I probably most staunchly defend out of all of them.
I don't think Attack of the Clones is inherently bad.
Yeah. Like
But
I don't like it. Like it's just so boring. Like nothing happens until the final act. Of the
Phantom
film.
Menace is so much more boring than Phantom.
I totally.
maybe it's just because
agree.
maybe it's just like me as a kid. Like
See,
that
I guess like as somebody who's interested in like fantasy political intrigue stuff, I like the like oh who's the Sith, who like, or like the fight for democracy and like that whole idea, and like the idea of like the Trade Federation being wrapped up in the separatists, and that stuff is interesting to me, and they take it in the wrong direction in Attack of the Clones, because now it's an excuse to make it boring.
Yeah.
So
my thing with the Attack of the Clones is it's just really where the plot actually starts.
Mm.
Like, while a lot doesn't actually happen, at least in the beginning, the plot is at least actually moving with Attack of the Clones. Other than getting their
I
hands on
disagree.
Anakin in
I totally disagree.
in the first movie. Okay, what in the first movie, other than Anakin and Palpatine meeting, actually matters to the grand scheme of things?
No, that's irrelevant to the actual movie.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like that's how I justify me
Right,
liking 2 over 1.
I guess I can
It
understand
also
that.
looks prettier.
I guess I can
Yeah.
understand that perspective, and that's true.
Yeah.
I can understand that perspective. Just for me, I'm looking at these movies mostly as individual movies.
Right.
I have to take the history of the character from the previous movie
Mhm.
into account when I'm thinking about it. So like in 3, like I have to think about Anakin in both 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I don't really care about it in relation to other films. I'm interested in it being a good film by itself, and I think Phantom Menace is a far better film than Attack of the Clones will ever be.
If we're okay, so I'm not judging these movies necessarily on entirely on quality. I'm also judging it on personal opinion a little bit.
Sure.
Attack of the Clones, I think some of its positives. It's got the CGI, similar to the first one, hasn't aged as well. It's still, for the most part, I think,
It's a lot better though. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's this whole controversy that George Lucas decided to shoot on digital rather than film. which was, like,
Whatever.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's controversy back in that time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think he made the right choice. Like back at the time,
Yeah.
because like
Well,
he got a lot of
Phantom Menace looks very different
Right.
from 2
I
as
don't
well.
think it Phantom Menace visually looks as great as
I
people think it does.
I also think the Attack of the Clones had like better action sequence. Okay, so
I don't know.
Yeah, okay,
None of them beat Darth
Yeah.
Maul. Like
That's true, but
Are we talking like lightsaber duels or battles?
I want to say battles.
Yeah,
because
'cause the-
lightsaber duels. It was just like a bunch of like lightsabers like flying around. I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
like really
The
interesting. at all.
Geonosis fight is cool though.
Yeah.
The
Geonosis fight and the Jango Fett thing.
Jango
that's
Fett
cool.
stuff is the Jango Fett stuff is cool. I don't know
Until
how
he
I
dies.
feel about until they like blast off. I
Also,
felt like-
spoilers for all of these because I mean,
Yeah.
at this point, if you don't know what happened in Star Wars, like
I
lock-
will
Yeah,
say
like
I will
this.
say the lightsaber duels are the best part of Star Wars, and I think like it's not as good as the Darth Maul fight, but the Count Dooku fight is still really
Dooku
good.
versus Yoda or Dooku versus Anakin and Obi-Wan.
So I think Dooku versus
Dooku versus Yoda.
Dooku versus Obi-Wan is good. Dooku versus Anakin starts off good, especially with the 2 lightsabers, but then they turn off the lights for some reason, and they're literally just swinging their lightsabers around at each other, and it's like, this is so stupid. I don't know
Yeah,
why I'm
it's just-
watching this.
I think it's interesting because the prequels feature like the best like lightsaber battles. I
Yes.
feel like better than like,
Oh, yeah.
even like they're like
They're better than any of the ones in the
But, like, they also-
original trilogy.
they
in
also
either
feature-
trilogy.
yeah, but they also feature like some of the worst, like just
Well-
straight up like very just repetitive like lightsaber.
I
just
don't
back
know.
and
I don't know
forth.
if I totally agree with every lightsaber battle in the prequels being better than either trilogy.
That's what I was. That's what I
I
was
do
thinking
think we'll get to this later, but Vader and Luke's battle on the Death Star not in episode 6.
about. 6.
Okay.
I think that battle tops some of the ones in the prequels.
Yeah.
But I still think nothing beats
Yeah.
what we're gonna get to in the next movie and Darth Maul.
Yeah, but I just still want to mention before we move on to 3. Some of the worst, like
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen, like just
Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman have nothing to give
line
each
delivery.
other.
Line delivery was
Okay.
Line
the
delivery
line delivery was great,
was
but
trash.
also the script that they were given, the romantic dialogue in the film is really the only issue that I have with the actual script.
that scene where they're I forget what the planet, but like they're all like
Oh, Naboo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Naboo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like George Lucas, I mean, you created the fantastic universe and you crafted a pretty amazing story,
Yeah.
but you
don't know how
cannot
to write
write
a script.
romantic dialogue.
And the
I don't
chemistry
know
was-
if he knows how to write a script.
The
either.
chemistry was inexistent. Oh.
based on some of that stuff in 3, man. I don't
Like,
know.
but
I
he's-
don't
I
know.
also do not blame Hayden Christensen for anything.
No.
He did the
he's-
best with the
he's-
lines he was given, and also when you think
I don't
about who
think-
Anakin is, it makes sense. He's like he doesn't know how to talk to girls because he's been told his entire life, "Hey, you cannot talk to them. That's not the
Right,
Jedi way."
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I think Hayden Christensen, like he gets I think like hate. Like, he's not a bad actor. If you see him in some of the other work, I think it's just really just the lines he was working with.
That and he was a pretty early on actor, and being told, "Okay, this entire movie's going to be on a blue screen."
Oh
Like
my God,
it'd
yeah.
have to be a little hard.
Yeah.
I still think, I really don't like the stuff on Naboo. And,
Everything
like,
with
that's-
Obi-Wan is great.
Yeah. So at some point, I really want to watch. There's a cut on YouTube that's just they recut it as an Obi-Wan, like a single Obi-Wan film. I'd be really interested to watch that.
Yeah. Which is kind of ironic considering the whole point of the prequels is the rise and fall of Anakin.
Yeah.
So I think we just
Yeah.
cut out all the Anakin.
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you think that?
I just think it's so boring.
Do you think? Well, actually, let's just move on to 3, and then I'll
Yeah.
ask this
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
So episode 3,
Okay.
probably the best one.
Really
best
bad.
The best one, honestly.
No,
really
it's the best.
bad.
It's the best. Which,
Now,
No.
which one's the best one? to you?
so bad.
Which one's the best?
I think Phantom Menace is probably the best one.
Nope.
Of the
Because
prequels or
of the
okay.
prequels.
I was gonna say, like,
Entire-
whoa,
it's the
best Star Wars
movie,
movie,
everybody.
No.
we would have to ask you
No.
to leave the podcast.
Phantom Menace is the best prequel, and the reason for that is the script in 3 is awful.
No.
It is so
no.
bad.
Dude,
The
what are you talking
script-
about?
Hold me, Annie. Like, are you friggin'
Okay.
kidding me?
This
Okay.
No.
one rivals Empire for my favorite Star Wars movie. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if it rivals Empire, but like I think,
I'm not saying rivals in
No.
terms of quality. I'm saying for my favorite.
Oh, yeah, favorite.
In terms of quality, Empire easily
Yeah,
gets
okay,
it.
yeah,
But in
yeah.
terms of favorite, it
I
rivals
think
it.
I think Empire is.
You two were wrong.
No, we're not. No.
All right.
No,
So I want you guys to tell me.
all over
This
again.
really is.
So I want you guys to tell me. Yeah, both 3. I wonder what the trend here is. I want you guys to very clearly lay out what you think is great about this movie.
Amad, would you like me to start or do you want to start?
You could go ahead and start because
Okay.
I'm gonna just.
I like, first of all, and I know I've been saying this on Attack of the Clones, I like the way it looks. It portrays the
It's
whole
pretty.
dark.
It's
It's pretty. It kind of visually looks like things are getting darker. Not only
Yes.
is it getting darker for Anakin, but the galaxy and visually it's getting
Yeah.
darker.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about the theme about like the prequels that I love. Like it visually gets darker
Yeah.
throughout.
It shows the galaxy is getting to a darker place. I like. I think all of the action sequences are beautifully done.
Right.
I think the opening battle on Coruscant is still one of the best examples of CGI in film.
Mhm.
I think it still looks amazing.
Oh yeah, back then I mean it was.
Yeah.
and it
Just
was-
them
yeah.
in their
I'll agree
starfighters
with that.
flying in, and you see all the explosions
Yeah,
going
that's-
off.
that's-
Everything. It's amazing.
I love how like
Yeah.
you just like you sort of like it's like everything's normal and then like you just like you get whipped
It
into
pans out of
this
your
battle
vroom,
and
and
like
it's
yeah
like-
and it's like this
Yeah.
freaking galactic battle. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The sound effects, Ben Burt doing the sound effects for all of these movies,
Yeah.
just a great job. The sound design is
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, the cast does a great job of portraying the direness of the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like
I think
I think Hayden Christensen is fine, but he just did not stick the landing with 3.
okay,
I would-
I
Neither
think,
disagree.
did Natalie Portman.
I disagree.
by the way.
So you think about think about his position in film
yeah.
and the choices he made. I mean, like I don't think.
I don't. So I think like the plot of 3 is really interesting. Like the events that happen
Yeah.
and the character choices are
Like,
interesting.
yeah.
But George Lucas has no idea how to write dialogue.
There are moments in this film that shows that Hayden Christensen knows Anakin Skywalker and knows that he wants to portray him.
Yes.
The sequence, and I don't know if you remember this, there's a scene when right before Order 66 is about to happen, right before he goes to confront Palpatine, there's a scene where Padme is in, I believe it's the Senate building, and Anakin is in the Jedi Temple. And they're staring out of the windows, and they can't see each other, but through the Force,
They
they can
pretty
clearly tell they're
clearly
connected.
sense each other.
Yeah. I think
That scene, and the way his look on his face, without any dialogue, he's just like he's pained.
Yes.
He doesn't know what he's gonna do. And that's when he makes his mind.
Dude,
up.
Can I have a cut of Star Wars Episode 3 with no dialogue?
Okay.
That's
You
what
got
I,
like
that's
5
what I
minutes.
want.
Okay, you don't want Anakin in the prequels. You want to watch just
Honestly,
Obi-Wan and
that scene is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah. There's
Like,
okay.
it's-
So
You know,
okay,
but the fact that that's your favorite scene
No,
is
well-
a problem to me, though.
Because it's so well acted.
No, because it's the best acted. That's my
Wait,
that-
what?
No, that's my problem.
Wow.
That scene to me does not really do anything.
It's
for
not
me.
the best acted scene. In the
Okay,
movie.
so I think
What's the best acted
Okay.
scene in the movie? Then?
Obi-Wan's little speech when Anakin is burning alive is the best.
You were the
acting
chosen
movie.
one. You were the chosen one.
No,
I
Ewan
have a-
McGregor's pain
I
gets
have
me
a-
every time I watch that movie.
That's a really good sequence.
I-
But no, I
See,
just
no,
so I love the.
I
I
just
think the third act, and you can
You know
remember the
what?
third act is the strongest. I think
Everything
when
from when he confronts Palpatine.
when he starts to spiral into the dark.
Yeah, I think
It's just-
I'll agree. I'll agree with that. I think that I will say for me, I think the best performance is the scene with Yoda.
Okay,
where he's basically in confession with
Okay.
Yoda.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I was gonna actually mention that because like I think
I think, like-
episode. Sorry, you go.
I just think that's the best scene in the film.
So I
'Cause
think-
Yoda pretty clearly lays out the choice that Anakin has to make,
Mhm.
and Anakin knows it, and they're still he's still deceiving.
And you can
Yoda.
clearly tell
Like, it's-
Yoda knows it too.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just- Yoda kind of, he's my favorite character in the whole series,
Yeah,
honestly.
sure.
He, at least in the prequel trilogy, he knows what's about to go down, but he's kind of just like, I have to stay hands off, but I need him
Yeah.
to make his own decision
Yeah,
what he's
yeah.
gonna do.
Also, I
didn't quite understand why the Wookiee thing. Like I could have cut the whole Wookiee thing.
It's because people like Yoda. That's why.
Sure.
I was
yeah.
just saying. So
Yeah.
episode 3, I think, is probably like visually the strongest out of one of the strongest out of the entire saga. I think.
Yeah.
Because you have that scene with Yoda. I just love.
Yeah.
I love
the lighting in that scene.
I
is
love
really
how like
cool.
you have like the blinds going on, like
The
how
Venetian blinds.
the Venetian blinds, how his eyes are like sort of flipped by the Venetian blinds, and then near the end of the scene,
It's
kind of
very-
like, he just sort of
It's
like
very noir.
yeah.
He's
Like,
half light, half dark.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Sort of just
Yeah.
like he just tilts his head down. And
Again,
into the
I'm saying this is probably the
Yeah.
best scene in the whole movie.
Well, that, and I will say, even though you're gonna be like, of course, the best acted scene is with a computer-generated character, but when Yoda is feeling Order 66 and he like drops his cane and like kind of like doubles over,
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
it's an entirely
Well, there's
CGI
still,
character.
like-
yeah, pretty
well,
much.
yeah. I mean,
I
I
think
think
you-
that there's like, so my issue is I think there's a lot of really good stuff in 3, but 3 also has some of the worst stuff in Star Wars.
Okay, well, I don't think
Like-
there's a bad sequence in the movie. Name a sequence of
A
events. that is bad.
sequence,
Like
every interaction that Anakin has with Padme,
which granted
except
is
for
not
except
very
for
many.
her, except for her telling him that he's pregnant or that she's pregnant. I think except for that one, they're all terrible.
I
And
will
they're all
say-
bad scenes too.
I will say the
Especially
the
when
emotion-
he chokes her.
Okay, I will say, Ahmad, you're gonna have to back me up here. I will say the emotion in that scene where when they arrive on Mustafar is great.
Oh,
the
yeah.
dialogue is terrible.
The dialogue is
But
terrible.
Yes.
the emotion they
You-
portray
you
is
feel-
great.
you feel it.
feel it.
So
Right.
they're doing
You-
their best, but you can't do
Also,
your best with bad dialogue.
Mustafar is just a cool.
It's a cool place.
Yeah, it's a cool
place to-
setting. Yeah,
cool setting.
And
But-
I really like. There's the shot where he's like got the hood on.
And he turns his
and
head,
he's-
it's not the Sith
yeah,
eyes.
he's-
Yeah.
No, I've done an essay like
I thought that was
I've
cool.
done like an essay on.
Does he
like,
have yellow eyes?
Also, that yellow eyes.
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Dang it, Nimura.
Don't try and test me on my Star Wars lore knowledge.
No,
man.
sorry,
I
no,
don't look like
sorry,
I
no,
know.
I'm not.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not annoyed. I'm just like slowly coming to the revelation that Kingdom Hearts is just Star Wars. So, anyways.
I could have told you that.
Anyways.
So I was gonna say like I've done like essays. I've done an essay on Kurosawa and how
Yeah.
George Lucas was inspired by Kurosawa. One of the things that Kurosawa is kind of known for is just like his environments reflected the mood of the characters. So like if it's raining, the characters would be like, that's
Yeah.
in this bad situation. Fire behind this character would be like the character's like in this rage and stuff like that. So I could definitely see the inspiration.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of like George Lucas going back to basics in a way. Like
Yeah.
he's going back to, you can
I
see
agree.
this is like George Lucas with episode like 4 or something like that. It's
Yeah.
just it's like you could tell that he's visually trying to get back to what he was at.
Yeah.
And then like with Mustafar, you obviously have like the freaking raging like lava volcano stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it really, literally reflects the feeling of
Yeah.
these characters.
See,
We're gonna have to move on to the next
Yeah.
movie soon because we talked about Revenge of
So,
the Sith for so long.
none of what you guys are saying I disagree with. I just think like none of that makes for a good movie.
Alright,
What makes for so what do
Right?
you mean? What does that mean? What is that?
So like I think that
what do you
like,
need besides good performances to make a good
You don't
movie?
need
because we're
dialogue,
saying
because the-
essentially that everything except
I need
like
a
the
good
dialogue.
script.
Okay.
okay.
The script is really really bad.
Episode 3 had the potential of being like.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would even say episode 5. I would say like you said, Rivals, because it is one of my favorites too. I would say like it's one of my favorites in terms of.
I
but
think
If you
George
give
Lucas-
better dialogue to Anakin and Padme, the rest of the movie is already great.
Great.
Yes.
Other than the
I
dialogue
agree with
between Anakin and Padme, everything else is already
in terms
set.
of how the film makes you feel.
I think better dialogue between all of the characters.
I think
like the dialogue, like you're talking about the Ewan McGregor's performance when Anakin
Or Anakin,
is,
or-
like, burning up,
Or even
like,
Anakin's performance.
like
Yeah.
the performances are all pretty good. Like I'm not gonna say that like Christopher Lee did a bad job. Like that's a stupid thing to
For
say.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Just
I'm not gonna say
Do it.
like
do it.
yeah like
Do it.
But no, so,
like I'm not gonna say that like the performances were bad, but I just don't think like in and of it's. I think like and again I think the plot is really interesting. I just think like some of the execution is off. Like having Anakin just slaughter younglings is kind of like for shock value is kind of like that. I understand like why.
Yeah.
You have to have you also have like if you have younglings you have to have a reason for not all of them
Being
to
Jedi.
just be Jedi
Yeah.
anymore.
So think
like
about-
like I understand the the reasoning behind it, but it is kind of shock value-y.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot of stuff with Anakin. I felt like that he didn't quite handle how he was going to kill Padme well either. Like I felt like having him choke her and then having her just sort of like
what's his upgrade? This is him. Well, you got to think before, like earlier in the film. The reason why he chose to turn is because of
Yes.
Padme. Because of Padme,
Yeah.
right? Cause,
Well, no.
but-
Well,
'cause
so I
here-
get like the character makes sense
Right.
again. I think that like George Lucas did a good job of like he understood in his head what the characters were all supposed to do and how it was all supposed to turn out. But when it came to like actually writing it down on the page, I think none of that actually came through. And what I got was an approximation of a really interesting story that turned out to be this weird soap opera drama
I mean,
with...
Star Wars has kind of always been that, though.
yeah.
See, but Star Wars at its best is not that.
Okay. Well, we regardless, we need to move on to
Yeah.
the next
So
one.
that's what I was gonna say. Just to wrap up the prequels real
Yeah.
fast. I was gonna ask, do you guys go like looking at where the Star Wars saga is right now?
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the prequel should have been made?
I think yes. I think if the story is all about Anakin, I think it was interesting to see where we got. That being said, I also think that while they're not perfect movies, the humongous amount of hate that everyone involved got, including these actual films and the creator of the saga, was way too high and way unjustified.
Sure.
Like, I think, yeah, there should be criticism, but the amount of just things thrown at all the people involved was terrible.
Yeah.
I think
I agree.
if we didn't get this saga, then we wouldn't get what we got next. And I think that's...
For better or for worse.
Yes.
Ooh.
That's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
All
right, let's move
so
on.
Let's do...
This is good. Maybe
Star
we'll
Wars.
agree.
This one, so this one, I think we I don't think there are many fighting words anymore about
Yeah.
this one. Like
For at least the next
so,
three.
So I feel like this
we're moving on
film.
to Solo, right?
That's right. We have
Rogue One.
Solo.
So, okay, I was gonna say because we
Yeah.
First, we have to do Rogue One though.
no,
That's Solo's first.
Solo's
Oh, yeah.
first. Okay,
So I really don't like Solo. Like, talk about a bad script.
Oh, yeah.
And I felt like we've talked about this before, having Han Solo be tied to the origins
It's
of the
a
rebellion
huge mistake.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Because you got to be on the ground with.
Ahmad, not even Sawyer's on
Okay,
your
do you
side
mean
with this one.
us thinking Solo the movie is interesting, or the choice of him being part of the rebellion being interesting?
I thought that was weird, but I thought getting the I
Okay.
thought getting the perspective of being on the ground as they were fighting
Okay.
was cool.
That I agree with. I thought you were saying you thought having Han
Well, see,
Solo
I
being part of-
should have phrased that.
Okay, I was like, I can't agree on
But
that.
that was weird. I was like, oh, okay, this is like I think the entire film.
I
was
think
made.
seeing
Yes.
the battle,
The
or
film
like
did
seeing
not
that
deserve
world,
to be made after that. moment.
this movie didn't need to exist. I think there are plenty of other stories they could have told for
Give me
like a
that
character we'd already
Kenobi
seen.
movie.
Kenobi would have been the perfect example. This movie doesn't need to exist. It didn't tell us anything we didn't already know.
Would Kenobi have been set before the
I need a Kenobi
prequels?
samurai movie.
I don't think so. I would say a Kenobi movie between 3 and 4.
I want
of
the
him,
I want
like-
the stuff with Satine or what?
That'd
What's
be
her
interesting
name?
to see. Yeah, but you'd also have to recast because McGregor's too old by this point.
Oh yeah.
I think it's. I don't hate Solo. I just think it's a completely pointless and, in my opinion, soulless movie. There's
Yeah.
like, at least with the prequels, for better or for worse, they have a soul to them. You can feel there's
I
an
agree with that.
actual
I agree
idea
with
of
that.
what they wanted to do.
I think all of the prequels are better than Solo.
Solo.
I'll agree with that.
My big issue with Solo is it feels like a product. It's like we needed the Star Wars movie for
Yes.
2018.
I agree.
This
The
is
whole-
what we're
the
gonna
whole-
do.
Which is weird because they didn't release it in Christmas either.
No.
So
I think if this movie had been released in Christmas, I may feel very differently about
Yeah.
it. actually.
Okay, so I thought Solo was a fun ride.
Mhm.
I think there were a lot of problems with it.
How he got his name.
Yeah.
That's
How he gets his name is so stupid.
Han
Solo. Yeah.
Alright. So I think that was an issue. I don't. Also, visually, how muddy it looks was. I
It's
guess
too dark. Like
it's
visually,
just like
too dark.
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't. For a Star Wars film, I mean, I don't know. That's interesting, but
You know,
I'd like
the
to
cast
see.
is pretty great.
I would like to see a Star Wars horror film.
We're never gonna get that, but
Never
I'd like
gonna
to see
get
it.
Yeah, like as terrifying
As
Star
a-
Wars,
as
like,
a-
and set in the universe.
I was hoping this movie would just be a straight up gangster movie, like
Yeah.
a Star Wars gangster movie.
Yeah.
It's not what we got.
Should have had a
but-
sad ending.
Which is kind of how it started in a way, kind of.
Yeah.
But not.
Well, I
really.
think they tried to attempt a sad ending with the
Yeah.
whole Kira thing.
Also, the
But-
Darth Maul stuff. What's gonna happen? with
Like,
that?
well, that-
That's the problem though. Is the Darth Maul stuff happened in
they already
Clone Wars
filled it all
and
out in the
Rebels.
cartoons,
Yeah.
and because of the way the canon works, they don't want to upset fans by removing. Like, Clone Wars is one of the few things left that fans in the current era actually like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think they're not gonna want to ruin that.
What about Rebels? I thought
Rebels
fans
is
liked
There's
Rebels.
divided.
Okay.
issues. My thing with the stuff with Maul is it's clearly only there because every single one of these movies that they've done, like for example, has had like we need an ending thing for people to talk about. Rogue One had the Vader scene.
Yeah.
Episode 8 had the whole Luke. Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything of 8 was how do we surprise fans, for better or for worse. And 7 had the Luke ending.
Yeah.
Every single one of these
I
movies
think I
has
can
had.
agree with that.
We have to have something at the end that makes fans go, here, talk about this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, and this Maul thing was like, what can we throw into Solo so people talk about it online? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, hey, Maul's still alive at this point, and we're doing him in Rebels. Let's throw a scene of him in there. And he's in the criminal underworld now. There was no, like, thought of, like, oh, this would be cool. How do we tie this in? It's just, we need something for somebody to talk about.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's no reason.
I mean, I think that's pretty much it for
Yeah.
I mean, you could
So,
move on.
Solo,
so-
I thought the cast was great.
Yeah.
I think Alden Ehrenreich, and if you recast a younger Leia and Luke, you could do another trilogy between originals and sequel trilogy
Ooh.
of like young Luke, Han, and Leia leading up into the events of the sequel trilogy.
You think so?
I
Or
don't want that though.
or do an animated thing.
Yeah.
Like I think if you're gonna do anything, do like an animated
Oh, excuse
movie.
Yeah.
Like because
Yeah.
I think it would also help tie up some loose ends. But anyway, that covers most of Solo.
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Yeah.
Ending is great.
Rogue One is
There
a-
is no character development in the entire movie.
I
Oh, no,
don't
no,
care.
no, no.
It's very well
That's
made.
Is
this gonna be the moment where Ahmad-
Okay, go
Is
ahead.
this going to be the moment where Ahmad and I actually agree on a Star Wars movie
I think it
against
is.
you, Sawyer?
Sorry, I'm actually shocked that you.
Yeah, I think
There
we,
is-
I think so. I think so. My thing with Rogue One
is I didn't need it to have character development.
It
I needed it
does,
to
though.
be as excellently made as it was.
It's a beautiful
And-
film.
It is a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying the characters I do not care about in the slightest.
Specifically, who?
Okay. I do not care about Jyn Erso. I can't tell you one thing about her other than her dad was in the Empire and she likes to rebel.
But man,
I can't tell you a
you
single
can't-
thing about Jyn.
But seriously, dude, like Cassian was great.
Okay,
Who's the Jedi? What's his name? The Jedi
There is no
temple
Jedi.
guy.
You mean the
Oh,
Chirrut Imwe
yeah.
and Baze Malthus?
everybody.
Yeah, like-
Okay, I
Force
will
would
say
have
I
cut
liked
Mendels.
those two. Granted, other than being there to help fight, they don't really have a lot to do.
K2SO man.
He's
Yeah.
okay. K2SO is there for comedic relief. He does not.
Yes,
he does not
but
have anything
he's fantastic.
It's a beautiful film.
And he dies, and it's really sad to see him die.
It's a good.
like that's.
I
the,
enjoy
that's
the movie,
whole
and I
movie.
agree it's sad when these characters die. But like Riz
The
Ahmed's
whole-
character, tell me one thing he actually affects in the plot besides connecting a bolt and then dying. The pilot.
Well, I mean, he's.
Oh yeah.
He does literally
yeah.
nothing in the
Well,
entire
no,
movie.
yeah. So my thing is like. I didn't care how the rebels got the plans. Like I didn't care. People lost their lives. That's all I needed to know. Right? Like that's.
So coming off of the high of 3, I feel like I saw. Watching Rogue One was just like it's a war film. It's a Star Wars war film.
And well,
It's a
and
thrill. It's
so we talked about this when we were talking about Metal Gear, right? I think it's effective to know that people died and that they were and like to kind of get to know them in a way,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So like what I didn't need was a character drama about the rebels who went and got the plans. I didn't need that. What I needed is to know who these people were and how they got the plans and how they sacrificed themselves for this rebel alliance that would then go on to
Okay.
have 3 movies. Of,
I agree with you on that. I think I agree. The war movie like aesthetic was great.
Yes.
I think it all looks beautiful. I think for what he was for what he is in the movie, I thought Ben Mendelsohn was a great villain. He's very Star Wars esque.
Diego Luna
Oh.
was really. I mean,
Yeah.
all the actors.
The actors in it are great. I don't think there's a bad actor in
Right,
the movie.
right.
I think it looks great. I think the Vader scene is awesome.
Oh my dude, that Vader scene. Are you kidding
The Vader
me?
scene,
I
scene.
wasn't expecting that at all.
I greatly enjoyed my time with the movie, and I still like it. That being said, I think it should have been more of a ragtag band of misfits rather than just saying they focus way too much on Jyn as the main character. There should not have been a main character. It should have just been a band of rebels goes to get the plans.
Sure. I can see
Jyn being a
I
main
did-
character, despite the fact that we don't really know much about her.
I will say I did really
Yeah.
appreciate the return of Senator Organa.
I thought that was awesome. I thought him leading into saying, "Hey, I have to go ask Obi-Wan to help me out."
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That was
Yeah.
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 I will say, just going back to 3 real quick, I really dislike how, like, the reason that C-3PO and R2-D2 don't know who
R2
is-
knows. 3PO doesn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I guess,
Yeah.
like, the reason that 3PO doesn't know what's going on is really stupid.
Yeah.
You just, like, wipe his mind. Why?
It-
So, anyways, let's move
Don't,
on
don't get
to...
me wrong, I just have to say quickly, I do really enjoy Rogue One. I really like it. That being said, I don't think the characters are great characters. They're probably, for me, some of the weakest in the saga. But that doesn't hurt the movie overall, at least in my opinion, because it's not a character movie.
All right, so
Yeah.
like quickly,
Sure,
I just want to
yeah.
talk about the ending and then move on to 4.
Okay.
Seamless. Like this
Oh,
is
yeah.
like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
fantastic.
really-
You could probably cut it into 4 and it'd just be like,
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
like
The CGI on the young Leia is a little iffy.
I don't think
Yeah.
Well,
So the problem is everybody's showing you a still image. In motion, it looks fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
emotion looks fine. It's just like it's when she pauses there for a second before it shows the director's name. It's a little
Yeah.
yeah. But she says, "And you hope." Did she say
Yeah.
hope? And
Hope.
I'm just like,
yeah.
there
What is it?
Hope.
Hope.
Yeah.
And she sounds like Carrie too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it probably is a
It
clip
probably
of her from
was
the movie.
Yeah.
but,
her.
yeah.
Wasn't she still alive?
No.
No, she
Wow.
died like a month before this came out.
Yeah.
I think.
I thought she died like in the run up to Last Jedi.
Well, it might have been her.
I don't think so.
Oh, I don't know. They might have
Yeah,
gotten
also,
Well,
they,
they might have-
could have taken
they-
it from another movie.
Yeah.
Like, but, okay,
So in any
4.
case,
Yeah.
4.
4.
Come on.
Yeah.
Let's start it off.
I will say
Oh,
I
you
think
Ezra hat. Oh.
I think it. So my thing is it hasn't aged very well, and there are a lot better Star Wars movies
I will say it is weird going into it having a movie that's so small scale when the rest of the saga is huge.
Especially coming watching Rogue One
Yeah,
and
going
watching
into that.
episode
It
one.
is kind of jarring. That being said, I think it's kind of cool to see a fantasy world where it's not massive scale battles. It's just like tale of kids.
And watching it sort of later in life, I don't really care about Luke that much. As of 4, 4 specifically, I don't really care about Luke.
Mm-hmm.
I think 5 and 6 do a lot.
I
better
will
with
say
his character.
Luke has just as many whiny moments in this movie as Anakin does.
Like
in
Father,
Yes.
like son. Yeah.
Why do you think I don't like this movie as much as
Okay.
the other original
The
trilogy?
Toffee Station to go some power converter.
No.
Yeah, exactly, man. I think
The fact that Chewbacca doesn't get a medal at the end. What the heck was that about?
Why not have a medal?
I
and
just
I
felt
do
like
think the battles have not aged
No.
as well.
the lightsaber duel is trash.
The lightsaber duel does not work well.
Yeah.
Also, it still has that weird white flash when the lightsabers kind of connect a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird.
But obviously it's the first one of the entire. You have to
Yeah.
give it that.
Yeah. And it did give us Darth Vader, which
Yeah.
is pretty sick, right?
That and seeing the weird dust on Vader's helmet really takes me out of
yeah,
it.
because
Oh.
in the other
It's
Compared
all
to
shiny
compared to-
and chrome.
And then
Yeah,
compared to
'cause
3,
the-
where it's more smudged up and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think
So, that's
I
interesting.
think Nerdwriter did
there is reasons for
he's-
that.
Yeah,
but-
he's talked about
Yeah.
how that was kind of intentional.
Yeah, look it up. Nerdwriter did an episode on Darth Vader and how he's had such an impact on pop culture.
even though he doesn't have that much screen
Yeah,
time,
it's his screen time amounts to 30 minutes total with
Yeah.
the entire.
which is really impressive.
Yeah.
So
I think it's 4. It's a great movie. It's what started it all. It's jarring going in from it to the others because it's so small scale. I do think that there's a couple things that I would change going into it. And I do think it does take a little bit, with the exception of the opening, on the ship with Leia.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to get started. It's kind of slow when you're
Which-
seeing.
Thank the Lord for editors, because you should watch there's a video, I think it's Rocket Jump did a sort of history on how, and an analysis on how Star Wars was saved in the edit, and it's really interesting because they intercut between, in the original cut or something, or it's the original cut, or it's rough, they intercut between the stuff with Leia on the ship and Luke hanging out with his friends, and it would have been so boring.
Yeah.
So anyways, 5, often referred to as the best Star Wars film. It's been so long since I've seen it that I don't feel comfortable sharing an opinion on it.
So
It's the
visual,
best one.
it's the best one.
Yeah.
Darth Vader is amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
like we said, he doesn't really have that much screen time, but just the
Battle of Hoth.
the Battle of Hoth is the most
Battle of Hoth is really cool.
really iconic. I love love playing that.
Like
that
Star
in
Wars?
Battlefront.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say
Battlefront, the original one, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
It's
it's a
got
polished
some
film.
great moments. All the script is great. The characters are great. Visually, it looks good.
Has the best freaking name. The Empire Strikes
Yeah.
Back. How cool is that?
the art. I also have to think that I just wanted to make a statement on this, that if we're kind of just talking about the Blu-ray cuts of the movies at least for the original trilogy, because that's what most of us have access to. That being said, I think the special edition release of Empire Strikes Back, all of its editions are for the better. Getting to see the exterior of Cloud City rather than just white walls looks really nice.
Yeah.
Adding Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine into his talk with Vader rather than just some guy in makeup is really good.
Yeah, but I would say I'd say 65% of the stuff that he had probably wasn't necessary.
In Empire?
Well, not in Empire,
Okay.
but just
I would
in the
say
grand-
definitely in Jedi and
Yeah,
New
the
Hope,
grand scheme-
yes,
yeah, the
but
grand scheme of things.
in Empire, the additions made were
Yeah.
justified.
But I was gonna say
Irving Kershner?
Yeah. He propelled the franchise. I mean, do you think George Lucas would have did?
No, he's not that good of a director. I'm sorry, George Lucas. This is how it is.
Well, I think regardless, based on the time we got, I think
Yeah.
since we all pretty much agree on Empire, we can just say good, probably the best one.
Yeah.
And Luke, the iconic moment of finding out Vader's father, and then hanging at the bottom of Cloud City, like Force connecting with Leia, is
Yeah.
a great moment.
Yeah.
All right.
And his fight with Vader, great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
6 again. It's been a while for me, but I really enjoy it. I don't really have an issue with the Ewoks inherently. Like I don't know if they're like, they might be kind of overused and like they might have too much. Like could maybe slim down the movie and like cut out some of their stuff and it might end up being better.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the lightsaber duel between like just the scene in the throne room, I guess, is
Yeah.
terrific. And yeah, I think like the ending is really cool. Like it always had an impact on me as a kid, and I feel like that still sticks.
Yeah.
I think that with Jedi, the Ewoks in that movie as a whole are clearly foreshadowing for Star Wars becoming this pop culture franchise and not just a trilogy of movies.
Yeah.
That being said, it's still got some great moments. Like I said earlier when we were talking about Revenge of the Sith, the fight between Vader and Luke in the throne room on the Death Star is probably my favorite scene in the entire original trilogy.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastically done. You actually get to see Luke not be perfect and kind of lash out at Vader.
Yeah.
Especially when he mentions Leia.
Yeah.
Like that moment is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and Palpatine just kind of sitting there knowing everything and acknowledging, just like basically controlling everything without actually doing anything. Just
Yeah.
and then that shot with the blades cross over his face is amazing.
Yeah.
The stuff on the ground actually on Endor is pretty good, but it's kind of
Eh.
just like okay.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah.
the only thing I really like about it is when they finally sort of have Han and Leia.
Like actually come together.
Yeah.
When they reveal the face behind the mask,
Yeah.
it's also.
And the opening on Tatooine is great too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah, I thought that was.
it's just
I
good
thought that was
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the best I can say about Return of the Jedi to sum it up. Is it's just good fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a good payoff too.
Yeah, it
It's
pays
a good
off.
payoff to the entire saga as well.
It goes 2, 3.
Like
1.
regardless of how I feel about 3, 4, or 3, 2, and 1,
Mhm.
I will say 6 does a really good job of paying those movies off.
Yeah.
Like
If you haven't seen, I'm gonna shout out Heroes Fans Productions. I believe is the guy's name. He does an edit of Anakin Skywalker's life, and he cuts together moments
yeah,
from the prequels and Return of the Jedi, and
Yeah.
basically all of it.
I think he does edit some really cool edits of.
I think it's called
Lots
The
of
Chosen
stuff.
One, and it's
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
really good.
Mm.
That, and then he also did one about Luke Skywalker that was really
Yeah.
good too.
He did. He's done so many stuff.
And
So
a good
much
one
stuff.
for Game of Thrones too.
Yeah.
I guess we move on to where we're gonna start disagreeing.
The
again.
Force Awakens.
Come on.
I think we all agree on The Force Awakens.
I love The
actually.
Force Awakens.
It's fun. It's good.
It's a good time. It's a good start to what I guess I should say
Let's-
could have been.
Ooh.
It's a good.
Yeah, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
For
Well,
you,
I mean, I
yeah.
think
It's a good start. It's J.J. Abrams knows how to set things up.
Yes.
Like you only have to look at the 2009 Star Trek movie to
Yeah.
see how he can set things up for a new adventure.
Yeah.
The characters he sets up, you're like, ooh, I wonder who this is going to be. Could they be tied into this?
Yeah.
He sets up things so people
Yeah.
can theorize.
Finn, Ray,
And
I
we can
thought
only
Poe was
hope
really
he's as
cool.
good
Yeah,
at
Poe.
payoff as he is at
Yeah.
setting stuff up.
Historically, not so much as good as payoff if you only look at like Lost. It's not-
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Although Lost wasn't really
It wasn't
his
entirely
fault.
him anymore.
It was
but
it
yeah.
was it was the writer's fault. Let's
Well,
be.
and then just them milking it because you wanted to end it.
It was ABC milking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I got the day before I went to go see it, I got Han Solo getting killed. Spoiled for me.
Oh, you did?
That's
Oh,
Yeah,
what a
somebody
shame,
thought it was
dude.
funny. Somebody thought it was funny to just say in the middle of freaking class, just hey, Han Solo dies, and
Nice.
just
I had
because-
that for some of Infinity War
Yeah.
myself. I had
Wow,
Spider-Man.
what a- wow,
yeah.
that's horrible. Because
It's
like
like-
that was the one thing I really didn't know going in
Yeah.
was that.
I will say that I had when we were I worked in the movie theater when this movie was coming out.
Oh no.
And when I was there,
No.
somebody spoiled it for some people when they were buying food. And
No.
everybody in line, including us working, were so upset. Luckily, I had already seen the movie before this had happened.
Wow.
Because this was like...
Jeez, you dodged a bullet.
Because I was on vacation when it came out, so the
Yeah.
week we came back, people were talking about it.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. This was
Man.
not a good time.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I really, yeah, I think it was like a really good introduction to like the new world of Star Wars.
Kylo Ren. Like,
Kylo
yes,
Ren. I really
for
like
the
Kylo
First
Ren.
Order.
Kylo Ren is cool in this movie, and arguably he's one of the only things I like in the next one.
Ooh.
I think this movie sets up the world well. It leaves just enough intrigue so you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, what happened in the last 30 years? Who's this person? How do they know this person? What has Han Solo been doing?
Yeah, I think like
so.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
We can go ahead. I was just gonna wrap it up.
My only issue is that really is just another Death Star. Like, you couldn't come up with another threat.
That is my
Yeah.
biggest. It's just like kind of very kind of gimmicky.
Yeah.
and,
That means that the scene where Hosnian Prime is destroyed is actually really well done.
Yeah.
Well, I think like the action in the film is really good. It's just not original. Is kind of the issue.
It's a
like,
good return to form,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, I agree. But I still liked it, and I thought the performances were all great. I thought the script was perfectly good.
I've never been more hyped for a movie in my life than I was when this was coming
For
out.
Force Awakens.
I have never been
See,
more
that was-
excited in general.
That
when
was
this was coming
that
out.
that was my dad. I haven't really like I'm not an emotional Star Wars fan. Like I like Star Wars a lot. Like I'm not like a hater or something like that. But my dad is way more into Star Wars than I am.
Yeah.
And so like I enjoyed going to see that movie with him because he was like, oh, "There's C-3PO." He's like punching me in the arm, so
See,
excited.
that was
yeah.
like,
seeing Han and Chewbacca just like
It's
walk into
R2D2.
I was
the
like,
walk into the
just
helmet.
I have a big history behind this movie, so I'll just do it real quickly. I was so excited for this movie. All people, my friends in high school were like, I could not get me to shut up talking about it. I was theorizing at lunch, and
Yeah.
I had marathoned the first 6, and I was so pumped.
Did you
Then
watch the Ewok movie?
I didn't watch the Ewok. So we were on vacation the day it came out. I was there with my mom, my dad, my brother, and my grandparents on both my mom's side and dad's side.
What a way to tell you that this movie made money, by the way.
My dad's parents didn't go, but everybody else went.
Yeah.
Because they had never really seen Star Wars. They had we all went, and I will say, because this was the first day we got to vacation there, we saw it in downtown Disney. We were in Disney.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We got there. Unfortunately, we were pretty low in line. We sat in the very front row in IMAX 3D.
No,
I got
that's
such a
so bad
massive
for you.
headache from sitting in the front row in
God.
3D that I was nauseous for the last hour of the movie and could barely watch.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
The amount of sheer disappointment that I've had to overcome,
God.
like I'm
Just from that.
I'm unfairly placing on the movie because of that experience, is what I have to consistently overcome with the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like
It's
that.
still-
Luckily, I did go again with my brother like later that week.
Yeah.
And I got to fully experience it. By that point, I already knew Han Solo died. I already knew the events.
It wasn't happening to you for the first time.
That, and I also had hyped it up so much that there is no way the movie could possibly live up to the expectations I
Yeah.
had. But
Oh.
it's
Kind of like everybody with Kingdom Hearts 3. Anyway, sorry.
Kind of like the last
and Metal
one.
Gear Solid 5. That's a whole
Oh.
thing.
That's a whole story.
This is a whole
though.
thing.
That's not.
a good topic
yeah.
for later. Okay, but yeah, that's my story of Force Awakens. So if you ever hear me like unfairly criticizing
Judging.
the movie, it's not because I think the movie is bad. It's because of my experience with
Yeah.
it. I
You had a
have
bad theater experience.
I have a tremendous and also awful experience with this movie.
Yeah.
Great surrounding everything except actually sitting in the theater
Yeah.
watching it.
So let's
Yeah, the last
let's
one.
fight about the Last Jedi. What time is it?
It's 9:13. We got time.
Okay, cool. I need to leave by like 9:30, so we
Same,
can fight
same.
for 15 minutes.
We got 15 minutes to wrap it up.
So I'm gonna let somebody else take
Okay.
it.
The Last
So,
Jedi. I
this
didn't see it
movie-
in theaters because I don't
You
know.
didn't see it in the theaters? What are you, a madman?
I am
Oh
a
my
madman. You know what?
God.
I saw it in the in like this lounge chair on that small TV.
Oh, lawn chair?
And
Are you kidding me?
And I regretted every second of it because I knew that I would have loved it more had I been in
Okay,
theaters.
well,
Dude, all right. So
You gotta
so,
let me unleash.
so you
I
live.
got to unleash it.
So you live in Maumee, right?
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna force you to come down to Columbus with
I've
me
seen
and
it.
go see episode 9 in the theater.
I'm
Right.
gonna see it in the theaters. Don't,
Yeah, like,
don't-
you had
When
best.
episode 9 comes out, won't we?
Will we?
I think so.
We're gonna be-
It's like the
is it-
It
Friday
probably
after-
comes out Christmas.
I think it's like the Friday after exams.
Oh.
So we might still be here.
Interesting.
I don't know. We'll figure it out when it comes.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
But
In
I
any
I
case,
was
You're
like,
seeing it in theaters. I'm
this-
gonna make sure.
I was every second of that film I was like, this would have been better had I experienced it in.
Oh,
So
man.
look, you gotta let me unleash on this. Okay.
All right,
so
just let him.
7, as you know, I just shared my experience with it. That gives you some more context for this.
Yes.
I was excited, but a little tempered by that. And then Rogue One came out, and I was coming off a huge emotional high because I really enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Clearly, from what we talked about, I had some issues with it, but I really enjoyed it.
Right.
Yeah.
Um,
So for you so far, Disney had pretty good record.
like pretty good record. Like 7 was a good start. I didn't think it was
Yeah.
this greatest thing ever, but I thought it was a good start, and I thought Rogue One was an enjoyable time. Then I get to the theater for
Oh,
Last
man.
Jedi.
Oh no.
I sit down, I've got my popcorn, I've got my Coke.
Heck yeah.
I'm gonna see
You're
it.
ready to watch a great movie.
I'm seeing it opening night
Yeah.
in the theater. I said,
Where's your seats?
I'm in the middle. I'm not in the front
Good,
row.
good,
so
good, good.
I had middle row seats.
Yeah.
Basically
I
perfect.
don't
seats.
remember. I actually don't remember where I saw this. I think it was AMC. I thought. It might have been. I don't remember where I saw
Man,
it.
that changes everything.
Yeah, I mean, just like it wasn't
Yeah,
Disney
yeah.
where I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was sitting in the middle row, have my popcorn, my Coke, sitting down, waiting for it to
man.
begin. I was very excited. I was like, well, Empire was one of the best ones. Attack of the Clones wasn't, so I wonder if it's 50-50. And then the movie starts. Within the first 15 minutes, with the whole Poe your mom jokes thing, I was already like, something is wrong.
Oh,
Something's wrong here, and I'm not sure what it is.
Oh my god.
And then as the movie goes on, I keep thinking, okay, when are we gonna get going? And then Luke throws the lightsaber, and I'm like, I don't buy that. There's something going on here. And as the movie goes on more and more, I'm slumping more into my seat, and my hand kind of comes up, and I'm just almost face palming, like, no, this can't be
Oh
it.
my god.
And it's
Wow.
there's a
what
couple
an
of
experience.
there's a couple decisions in this movie that were made that I question the sanity of the writers. I question
Him milking
whether or not yes, they're milking. I question whether or not Kathleen Kennedy should even have a job as CEO of Lucasfilm. I question.
Oh.
Based on this movie.
I question. No, not just this movie, but this movie is a big part of it. But a lot of things involved in general, like the handling of the press of the movie,
So,
the handling of the EA license with. Star
Yeah,
Wars.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really bad decision.
Yeah, I think this
Disney wide.
this movie, everyone involved, save the cast, and I guess the crew, all the
cast,
higher
crew, and the writers.
No, the writers are not safe.
Yeah,
the writers are not
the
safe.
writers are fine.
The cast and the technical crew are the only people who get out safe for this movie. Okay, I'm going to start with the pros because it's easier, and you guys can chime in when you want. Because trust me, I have a lot of anger with this movie.
Yes.
Okay.
It's very clear that you do.
Visually, I think it looks great.
It's the best one.
The Babylon
Yes.
Crate.
It's the best looking Star Wars film,
Yes.
hands down.
The Babylon Crate looks amazing.
The whole movie looks amazing.
Yeah, the whole movie looks great. I think the stuff with Kylo Ren,
Yes,
and Adam Driver is great.
I agree.
I think that Rey herself gives a good performance.
Yes.
Would not have made the decision of her just being a nobody. I didn't necessarily want her to be a Palpatine or a Kenobi or something, but I thought
I was really interested in both of those theories.
Yes. I thought her being another Solo Leia child was more like being Kylo Ren's brother would have been, I guess sister, would have been a better, I guess, dynamic. That being said, though Kylo Ren I thought did a good job, I thought Rey gave a good performance. I'm just going to call them by their names because it's easier.
Yeah.
I thought Mark Hamill, for what he was given to say, did a fine job. What he was given to say was a total load of, I'm not going to use that word.
Oh.
This is a betrayal to everything that Luke Skywalker is as
Wow.
a character.
Wow, I disagree with that.
Darth Vader, the most hated man in the galaxy, he did not give up on. He didn't give up on his father. He didn't give up on anything throughout the entire original trilogy. He kept fighting the entire time. So, how come when his little puny punk of a nephew decides to be all angsty, does he decide, you know what, I'm just going to give up and retreat to an island for 30 years? That is not Luke Skywalker's character. He also, now this is a deleted scene, but it's not in the movie, and I'm not going to count deleted scenes as part of the actual film.
Mm-hmm.
Does not even address the fact that Han Solo is dead, despite the fact that he could feel it in the Force. He never addresses that his best friend died. Doesn't even really talk to Chewie.
He does. Yeah, no, that's a weird decision.
Yeah.
I'll agree with
The
that.
only real decision, only real scene where Luke is actually really Luke in the entire movie
When he's talking to her,
is when he sees R2.
What
That
about
is the
Leia?
only scene in the movie.
How do you feel about his interaction with Leia?
His interaction with Leia is pretty good, but he's still kind of being the whole I'm gonna go pout on an island for a few. Also, it's cheapened when you realize he's not even there. Yeah. Them putting some big significance on an object that we had never seen before, and I had to Google what is this object that he's giving Leia is kind of stupid. But the dice thing, they're like, oh, we have to put them in cells so people know what we're talking about.
Oh my god.
Like, I think now we haven't even gotten to the biggest criticism yet.
What's your biggest criticism? Is that everything after the movie?
No, it's the end.
actually.
It's the end.
But that is a big.
It's the ending.
No, it's not the ending.
Oh, is it Rose?
Everything
no,
with Rose
yeah,
and
it's the
Finn
Rose,
is
yeah.
utter
It's the-
trash.
Yeah, Rose and
That
Finn.
entire sequence.
You know, I agree with you on
Yeah.
this.
Now, I'm not
actually.
saying that they couldn't be a B plot because there are B plots in Star Wars movies
They
before.
actually
Kenobi and Attack of the Clones technically is the B plot.
Well,
and it's the
and
better plot.
I think
Yeah.
that if you look at the characters, like the characters themselves as they're presented, they actually have some pretty good chemistry, and and their interactions are interesting.
Rose and Finn.
Yeah, just like not with the plot that we're given, not with the plot that we're given. Just like from the start, like from before they land on the gambling planet, I think like their interactions are interesting.
It had
potential. I think that entire.
Okay,
So here's where I'm gonna jump in. All right. So I think. I utterly disagree. I think I only disagree with you on one thing. Because I think the gambling planet stuff is not good until we get to Benicio del Toro. Once we get to Benicio del Toro, then then the movie gets better from there. But I think so my thing is that I don't necessarily have a defense for this.
Because there isn't one.
Because I don't know what defense I could give, but I still enjoyed Luke's part in the film because especially with the Yoda scene, because I felt like if the Yoda scene hadn't been there, I think I would agree with you. But given the Yoda scene, and he's talking about how Luke has a really bad habit of not like looking out to the future to try to see stuff, like this is a character flaw that he has had throughout his like entire.
I agree, and I think that's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah. And so like I think that like when he's not giving up on Darth Vader, he's taking Darth Vader's history into account. He's not talking about what Darth Vader may or may not do in the future. Like he's not taking that into account. He's talking about how like he did all of these terrible things, but in the end, you're still my father and you were still a Jedi, and I still believe in you because of that. And so like that, and that's the whole point of that scene in the throne room is that Luke's not going to give up on him just because he did bad things. He's going to fight for him to redeem himself, basically. Like he's not thinking about the future. Like Luke always lives in the moment. That's the whole point. And so when you take that, and this is a character flaw that he has that nobody would have really like. This isn't like a problem that has caused him issues with his friends or something like that. Like this is just a character flaw that causes him to sometimes make bad decisions, especially in Empire. Like the whole point of Empire is that he makes a bad decision and gets punished for it, is basically the idea.
Yeah.
And so if you take the history of that, I think it's very in character for him to be so in the moment. Like he basically describes this in the film. Like I was so in the moment, and then immediately I realized like, holy crap, I can't do this. And then Ben Solo sees him, and like obviously like his lightsaber's ignited. It looks like he's gonna literally kill Ben Solo right there. And so of course Ben Solo would attack. Like it all makes sense in my head. I can understand why it wouldn't necessarily make sense.
Well, I mean, it makes sense in the context. I just disagree with why they would do that. Because, like, I know Rian Johnson wanted to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
That being said, when you're coming off a movie like Force Awakens, which is just, hey, nostalgia, renewing Star Wars, and let's kind of get things back to the way they were, and the next movie is just throw away everything is very jarring.
I'm going to say something really controversial. It's It's my favorite Star Wars movie. With the caveat that it's been a really long time since I've seen Empire or Jedi, and so like I can't definitively say that it's my favorite Star Wars movie, but even then, I think Rogue One is still really great.
Oh
So,
man, dude, the decisions.
This movie is at the bottom of my list,
So
see,
Captain-
including the prequels.
Yeah.
so the things they did with the Captain.
you go ahead.
I was gonna say, but like how they pretty much built up that character and threw it away.
Which one?
Captain Phasma.
Oh yeah,
Phasma.
Captain Phasma is useless.
Yeah.
But this
Which
the
is-
fight scene is so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we might have watched a different movie because I don't think that fight scene is cool.
Captain Phasma to me
What
is just
when
like is like
when she's got like the staff thing and he's got the
I mean, it
what's
was
called?
fine,
Captain-
but,
Captain
the
Phasma for me is like
taser
Boba
spin
Fett.
thing.
She really is. She's like Boba Fett, really.
she is, yeah. But like it's just like
But everybody loves Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. No, cool. What they?
I don't love Boba Fett.
Well, I thought it was like I thought Boba Fett was like a cool character, and like so was Captain Phasma for me. But then
Captain Phasma's the same thing as Boba Fett, where like
They
she
both-
looks cool.
She has a lame ending. Is
She
that
has a
the
lame
idea?
ending and she looks cool, but she doesn't really contribute anything.
yeah.
Yeah. Aside from maybe having
Yeah.
one interaction.
So the casino scene was pretty much. Just
I really
Star Wars
didn't
did not
like the casino scene.
So
I'm
that,
gonna
Everything on that entire planet is garbage.
They should have just trashed all of that. They should have just ended it all.
Like,
I mean, it was
even like I really like Benicio del Toro's character in the film, and he's not even like.
Okay.
Are we
on-
not
he
going to
doesn't
mention?
really
Are we
do
not
anything.
going to mention
I
Leia
under-
flying through space?
Okay, we'll get to that.
Well, that was
Okay.
that was stupid.
I
I'll agree
understand
with
that the point that Benicio del Toro's character made of we need to have like about there is no good and bad. Both sides are selling weapons. Neither side is perfect. I get them wanting to use that idea, but my biggest problem is this whole movie is a contradiction. The entire
Also,
movie is a contradiction.
Benicio del Toro is in the
Okay.
new Dora movie.
Most of the whole movie, he really
That
is.
doesn't that
Like-
doesn't matter.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
He's the collector in the MCU.
So
like, what,
most
whatever,
of
dude.
this movie is like throw away the past. We're
Yes.
starting new. You don't do
Yes.
that. And in the very ending of the movie, as well as several other scenes in the film, is we're gonna go back to what we knew before. The ending of the movie is literally them saying we're not the Resistance anymore. We're the Rebellion,
Ooh.
and everybody just
Well,
ending
but
in the
that's
exact same
the-
position.
Well, but no.
Yeah.
That-
the villains are the one who want to kill the past, though. You understand this, right?
Yeah,
The
I'm not saying
heroes
just
aren't the
villains.
ones who want to kill the past.
Well, it looks like the writers want to because they killed off half the heroes.
Okay. So for me, I guess I think this is the fundamental difference. Actually, is I do want to kill the past when it comes to Star Wars. In a way,
I would
I'm
after the
kinda-
sequel trilogy.
I'm
like whenever
I'm
the
a
Game
little-
of Thrones
I'm a
writers
little-
are doing, make
yeah.
that a completely new thing.
So I guess like for me, I find it really interesting to have a meta narrative where there are a lot of people who are sort of done with the baggage and just want some cool Star Wars stuff. And you also have a lot of people who think that past really matters and that Luke Skywalker and Leia and Han, like those characters are what makes Star Wars in a way.
I think
And so like I think that like divide is really interesting to have in a meta narrative of your film. And so for me, who thinks that Star Wars just has way too much baggage at this point, I think it's really interesting to agree with Kylo Ren, who's had this really interesting character arc throughout his sort of in Star Wars career.
Yeah.
I guess like that's fun, like especially because Benicio del Toro's whole point is like it's all a game, don't play, like do what benefits you, whereas like Rey's character arc is about finding the right side to be on,
Yeah, like,
and
I can
respecting
see-
the past, but not necessarily following
Yeah,
it.
like I can see where all the characters were coming from. The problem is none of it comes together in a fulfilling way. It's just all like, here's some ideas, but we're not going to pay any of it off. We're just going to address it and then move on.
I guess for me, if 9 is not good, then I think 8 is bad.
Is this gonna be a reverse?
Is this
gonna be a reverse original trilogy where it's like one and 3 are gonna be the best ones and 2 is gonna be the worst.
So
Yeah.
no.
That's
So
really
for
good.
for me, if 9 doesn't give me like my final lightsaber battle and like Kylo Ren and Rey, like they kill each other or something like it. Like if I don't get a good payoff in 9 to everything that 8 built up, built
Well,
up.
I guess in this
then,
movie, from what J.J. Abrams is saying, is going to pay off the entire saga.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
So-
Yeah.
So like if I don't get like Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, like if I don't get those things that are essential to paying off this saga,
Mhm.
then I'm gonna sort of look back at The Last Jedi and feel like, that didn't feel like
Yeah.
worth it.
Do you
But
think?
I will say I don't hate. I'm just going to say this real quick. I don't hate every moment in The Last Jedi. I think while I disagree
Yeah.
with the choices they made,
Yeah.
I still think it was well put together
Oh,
for the
yeah.
stuff with Luke and
I-
Kylo and all that.
And
There's
I
some of the
guess,
most
like- and I
breathtaking
guess-
sequences in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
also, yeah, like
Except-
for me,
Except for everything with Finn and Rose. That romance subplot is so forced.
yes.
That kiss has no chemistry, but they're
I
trying to
agree.
play it as if it does. It's not like at
well,
least.
I was like, you built up her, like, Rey and Finn, and then now it doesn't matter
and
anymore?
Finn's arc is the exact same arc as in Force Awakens.
Yes.
There is literally no difference.
Although, to be fair, he didn't really end Force Awakens hanging out with the Rebellion.
That's true. But at the same time, also agreeing with that, Rose and Finn's storyline in this movie is kind of unnecessary. You could have just left Finn in a coma for the entire movie, and the movie would have been no different. It also would have shaved down the runtime.
Although, no, that's not true, though, because he very clearly ends this film with the Resistance.
He could have woken up with the Resistance.
Well, no, but he doesn't end, like, The Force Awakens, he's there for Rey.
Yeah,
That's the whole.
I see what you're saying.
That's the whole point. Like the whole point of Rose's character, to be fair, like, and maybe why she's not a good character,
Yeah.
is to give Finn a reason to be with the Resistance. Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point of his arc in The Force Awakens,
Yeah.
is to give him a reason to fight with these people.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. He tries to sacrifice himself. Like that, I think, like, it could have been done better. I
Yeah,
agree with
very
that.
clear.
Like the gambling stuff is like way too politics. Like, I just don't.
It's also
like
way
that
too
stuff.
on the nose.
Yeah, like it's just too like, come on, man. But you can't say that the film didn't give Finn an arc, because it very clearly gave him an arc, and it was fulfilled at the end. Like, he's with the
Yeah.
Resistance. He's gonna fight with them. He's gonna be an active member. It gave Poe Dameron a pretty
Yeah.
clear arc. I will say it should have been Admiral Akbar.
Yes, it should have been Admiral Akbar.
I agree with that.
And I think that, honestly, I think they should have just left all the stuff on the ship alone. And instead of introducing Rose, give some more development. Because the relationship between Poe and Finn in the Force Awakens was a really interesting relationship.
Dynamic, yeah.
Like, they were starting to build that, and then they keep them apart for the entire movie.
Mhm.
You should have had, instead
Yeah.
of Rose, have Finn and Poe be on this casino planet, scrap all of the politics stuff,
Yeah.
and just kind of go with that from there. If you have to have
Yeah.
that planet, at least build a relationship between characters we know,
Yeah.
and just leave all the stuff on the ship behind. That way we're not thinking about all the dumb stuff about fuel that has never been in Star Wars before.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm.
Okay, so
I
you
agree.
had something to say, Mon?
No, oh wait, actually, I forgot.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, no.
yeah. I was gonna say, do you guys? I mean, I think I was gonna mention the sequence where some of the one of the more breathtaking sequences that I wish I saw in theaters.
Lightspeed.
The Lightspeed thing that like.
Oh, the light
Yeah.
speed moment.
It
So
does look beautiful.
the moment I realized what was gonna happen, I got really excited, and it could not have exceeded my expectations the way that it did.
I just
Like,
wish it would have been with a character we actually care about.
Also,
sure,
I-
yeah,
I also-
it's not as great of a character moment, but just like the sheer hype of seeing a rebel freighter friggin' light speed through every ship the First Order has, like, that was sick, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I can't, like,
Yeah.
the amount of hype I had going into that moment,
We do need to
and
wrap
then
it up soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then like the things that happen, like, for me, I think it's like the moment that I've always said this, the moment that Rey leaves for Kylo Ren, basically, like, the moment that she leaves the planet to meet with Kylo Ren, and then she goes to the throne room, until they end up on the Rebel base, is the best 20-40 minutes in Star Wars. I don't know what the actual count is, but that's like my favorite 20-40 minutes of Star Wars.
Well, did we talk about Snoke at all?
Snoke is cool. I like him.
I think Andy Serkis did a good job. He's underutilized.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
did we
Yeah.
talk like about his death or anything? Or
I I don't
really hype because the Star Wars theme playing the moment that he grabs his lightsaber is, or that she, like, I don't remember how it goes, but like he kills Snoke with the lightsaber and then force pulls it to Rey and she grabs it and the Star Wars theme starts playing. Like, that's really cool.
I think it's a well done moment. I'm not one of those people who are like, oh, we never found out who Snoke was. He's not the main villain, I
Yeah.
guess.
Kylo Ren is
I
the main
still
villain.
think JJ's going to find a way to bring him back in 9. I wouldn't be surprised because JJ's going to want to please the fans.
I really want to see the trailer. I'm really interested to see what this trailer is going to show.
Star Wars
us.
Celebration is coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
So we'll see that then.
All right.
Last thing
so-
I'll say about Snoke, I think he's cool. They could do more. I'm sure we're going to get more, and hopefully JJ can bring it home in 9.
Yes.
Give us a
I agree.
satisfying end to a so-so trilogy, and set us up so that the Game of Thrones writers, I guess showrunners, can give us something beautiful and amazing
Yes.
and gritty.
So Ryan Johnson also has his own original.
Not looking
trilogy.
forward to it.
So I'm really interested to see what they do because what could be really interesting is if you have a Ryan Johnson trilogy once a year or once every 2 years, juxtaposed with a Game of Thrones writers trilogy once every 2 years.
Which is probably going to be Knights of the Republic.
Yeah, which like that would be really sick. Like if Ryan Johnson was doing like a far in the future kind of thing, and the Game of Thrones writers are doing a far in the past.
As long as
that would
they
be
don't
really
try to do an
interesting.
MCU thing and tie them together, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if they try to tie them together in a really interesting way. I don't know.
But like a
Anyways,
proper-
so
yeah.
all right, thank you for listening to
This has been
the
a
17th episode
long
of
episode.
Very long.
of the Lab Rats. It's not the Catacast.
Hopefully this extended episode, as well as finally doing Star Wars, is a payoff or a good apology present for missing 3
Yes.
weeks.
Follow us on social media. If it's not Facebook, we're on it.
Yeah. We're at Cast Kate or at CASTCATE on Twitter because we can't get rid of the old handle.
Yeah.
But if you search the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast, you'll find us. We're also at Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast or I guess Lab Rats Podcast on Instagram. And we are, for this show, depending on what you're listening on, you already know it's there. But we are also on Podbean. We are
Apple
on
Podcasts.
YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify.
Cool.
None.
Yeah. Ahmad, you got anything else for us?
Oh, I'm good.
All right. I'm Ezra.
I'm Ahmad.
And I'm Sawyer.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.